Back in high school, I was completely in love with role-playing games, specifically JRPGs. It started with Shining Force. Building a party and fighting through a grid tactical style combat was absolutely captivating. I hadn't played anything like it before. From there, my next big milestone game was Final Fantasy VII. The setting and story absolutely blew me away. After experiencing Cloud slicing down enemies and saving the world, I became captivated. I needed more. I picked up several RPGs: Legend of Dragoon, Star Ocean Second Story, Valkyrie Profile, all drastically different games from each other, but each offering sweeping, massive adventures. I didn't have a lot of money growing up, so finding RPGs was great as it gave me the most game for my dollars. But after picking up all of those games, sometime in about 2003 or maybe 2002, I picked up the first Lunar, the Silver Star Story Complete. And well, I've already talked in great detail about how much that game has meant to me. How the game was charming and the cast felt like old friends. But somehow, I had never experienced Lunar 2 Eternal Blue. Now, I had seen the game in the stores. They had it in the same GameStop as Silver Star Story, but I never picked it up. When I had the money, it wasn't there, and when I did see it, the game was just out of my price range. Given the time, I just assumed that I may eventually pick it up, but I didn't really give it a lot of thought. Now, I absolutely loved Silver Star Story. Spending time with Alex and the gang is still a lot of fun to this day. The game takes me back to a simpler, happier time in my life. They didn't need to add twists for the sake of twists. Everything in the story was pretty straightforward and easy to follow. It felt like going back to a better time. And when I worked on covering this game for the channel, I ended up getting one question more than any other. When are you going to cover Eternal Blue? I was asked this so many times. It was actually a little bit frustrating how often I would get this question. It felt like my passion and love for Silver Star was being overshadowed by this desire from people to get my thoughts on the sequel. Now, I wanted to play the game, but it's not a cheap game. Not at all. Now, I knew that a remaster was coming, of course, but still, I didn't know. I just had a hard time imagining that this game could actually be so special. I saw the remaster drop, and I heard stories from other fans of the series about their time with Eternal Blue. It started to dawn on me that I was missing out on something memorable. The online Lunar community has been so welcoming and kind to me, encouraging me to push forward, and now, I'm finally getting to see what everyone is talking about as I embark on my first journey into Eternal Blue. When I covered Silver Star Story, I was going back to a group of old friends. I was going back to an old story that was very dear to me. Now, I'm experiencing the world of Lunar again, on a new adventure with a new cast of characters. Now, as I'm writing this part, I've only played about 4 hours into the game and it's already got me hooked. There's this familiar Lunar magic that's just as charming as the first game. It's hard to explain how the game is already making me feel. There's nostalgia mixed with this feeling of the new adventure, and it kind of makes me feel like a kid again. Just as I said with the Silver Star Story, this isn't a review. This is not any kind of critical analysis. I'm not an industry expert by any means. I'm just a fan. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and feelings about this game as I go through it, letting you see how the game is opening up to me. I'm actually more excited writing this than I was working on the first video, because here, as I'm writing it, I have no idea how the story is going to unfold or how it's going to affect me. and it was actually really hard to set the time aside to start writing this, because this is time that I wanted to spend alongside Hiro, Ruby, Lucia, and the rest. So please, join me as I take my first journey back to the Silver Star for this, the Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Retrospective. Now, before I get any further into this video, I have to give a very special and sincere thank you to the YouTuber Angry Duck. He contacted me in the comments of my Bloodborne retrospective and reached out to gift me a digital copy of the Lunar Remaster. This absolutely blew me away, and without it, this video would still just be something that I was planning on making rather than a reality. So Angry Duck, thank you so much for your generosity. I appreciate it more than you know. Eternal Blue was the follow-up to Lunar the Silver Star story on the Sega CD. The game was released in 1994, 2 years after the original, and built upon its fantastic predecessor, being a considerably bigger game than the Silver Star. Eternal Blue served to be another shot in the arm for the Sega CD, which was struggling by this time and greatly needed more solid games to bolster its appeal. The team behind the first game was back, with Studio Alex working alongside Game Arts on this sequel. The decision was made to set this game 1,000 years after the original, giving them freedom to make changes to the world without having to worry as much about consistency. Letting them use the Silver Star, which is the planet for both games to take place on, as the setting without it feeling too much the same. This game has more than twice the dialogue of the original. The Silver Star contained about 10 minutes of partially voiced animation scenes, with Eternal Blue expanding to an impressive near 50 minutes. And that's just discussing the game on the Sega CD. The translation was handled again by Working Designs, who added their unique humor and style to the game again, expanding further to the game as they had with the Silver Star. Eternal Blue would go on to be one of the highest selling Sega CD titles, becoming the second highest in Japan and the third bestseller worldwide. With the success of the title, it was only natural that when the decision was made to remake the Silver Star into the Silver Star Story Complete for the Saturn and PlayStation, Eternal Blue would get the same treatment. And again, just as Working Designs had done for its predecessor, they created a robust premium collector's edition. They had all the things that came with the original: the cloth map, making of disc, and the soundtrack CD, and this one also came with a lot of extra collectibles for the players. Now, say what you will about Working Designs, nobody can say that they weren't experts at creating special packages for their games that the fans absolutely adored. The collection was incredible and gave the same feeling of being something premium that the first game had. I remember seeing this collection in stores a few times, and I never ended up picking it up, which is one of my greatest regrets as a gamer, as by the time I finally had the money to get it, it was impossible to find. And these days, if you want to pick up the complete collection, well, this video would have to do awfully well for me to be able to justify picking that up, no matter how badly I would love to own it. The game unfortunately fell off the radar of the general PlayStation user base, in large part due to the cost of the release, but also because by the time this came out, much flashier RPGs were out there that outshined the Lunar titles, which is a big part of why the series is as underappreciated as it is. The team behind Eternal Blue, from the designers in Japan to the team that helped bring it to the US, are clearly passionate about these games. Not to say that other game designers aren't passionate about their work, but there's this feeling that you can pick up on just hearing them share their experiences with this series that just, I don't know. Times like this, it makes me wish that I was more of a wordsmith, because it's difficult to describe the feeling I get when I listen to them talking about these titles. And again, it's difficult to describe how I feel when I play these games. It's like spending time with old friends. Even now, only a short way into Eternal Blue for the first time, I absolutely adore the cast. As I stated earlier, I'm playing through the game on the 2025 Lunar Remastered collection on Steam. After years of being left to time, Lunar was picked up by Gung Ho Online Entertainment and given a very nice remaster, bringing the game to all modern consoles and bringing the series as a whole to a new generation of gamers. It's really awesome to see this new spotlight being placed on a series that's so near and dear to my heart and the hearts of countless others. The community surrounding this series is a tight-knit and passionate group, and the excitement I've seen garnered around the Remastered collection has overwhelmed me with joy. I love that these stories are back on new hardware for everyone to play, and from my experience so far, as of this writing, the Remaster has been incredible. And with that, I think it's time that we settle in, because I have a feeling that this is going to be a long road. So please, go ahead, pause the video, go grab a drink and a snack, and join me on my adventure through Lunar 2 Eternal Blue.
Hanging silently in space, the world in the shadow of the blue star was once a lonely, barren place, unfit for habitation. However, Althena took pity on that world and transformed it into a place of beauty and wonder. She called the new world Lunar. Time and circumstance conspired to force Althena to populate Lunar with people from the blue star. And just as on the world from which they came from, life was held in a delicate balance. Through times of peace, war, chaos, and battle, the blue star loomed as the only constant in the new world. Thousands of years passed, burying the origin and purpose of the blue star in the sands of time. Eventually, the inhabitants of Lunar forgot why the blue star was there, or how it came to be, until a girl awakened that could join the two worlds, or tear them apart, forever.
The opening cutscene tells us about the origins of the world that we're in, and gives some intense foreshadowing. The graphics here blend 3D and traditional animation beautifully as we see this woman awakening. We don't know yet what's going on here, but we see flashbacks of the destruction of the blue star, a sign of something terrible that has happened in an era long since gone. This feels like the opening of a movie more than a game, opening up in a way that creates a ton of questions about what's going on. All we know is this mysterious woman has woke up in the wrong time. Something isn't right, and she is very exposed. And from there, we move into the game proper.
Ruby, did you say something just now?
The game opens up with a young man, Hiro, and his friend Ruby as they are hanging upside down inside a ruin of some kind. Hiro is stealing the eye from a dragon statue. Now things quickly go awry, leading to the two falling to the floor below. From there, we get an opening monologue from Hiro as he and Ruby make their escape.
Well, it looks like you've caught us in another messy situation. Oh, by the way, if you haven't figured it out, my name is Hiro, and the flying cat is named Ruby. She says she's actually a baby red dragon, but I don't know if I quite believe her. She doesn't care though. We've been friends for what seems like forever. My grandfather Gwyn is an archaeologist who taught us how to explore ancient ruins like this. Well, not exactly like this. Grandpa'd have a coronary if he saw me in this kind of danger. But you get the idea. I think it's so cool that these dungeons and ruins that time forgot can be found and explored by someone like me. The world I live in today is the result of things that happened long ago. Someday, I'll gather enough information from ruins like these to prove that.
This scene sets the tone for the game. It's lighthearted and gives you a great look into the personality of Hiro. He lives for adventure. I didn't know what to expect when I started the game, but this immediately let me know that I was in for something special. They managed to barely get out of the ruin with a boulder closing off the entrance, and they're stuck in a desert, or the frontier. It's a familiar place from the first game. The two start to head back to Hiro's grandpa Gwen's home, as Hiro lives with his grandfather. But as they're making their way back, they feel what seems like an earthquake, although it turns out to be the dragon ship Destiny, a massive warship piloted by the White Knight Leo of Althena's guard.
Wow! Get a load of that, Hiro! It's amazing. I wonder what kind of ship is able to move around without wind or sails like that.
Hey, you!
Huh?
Yes, you over there!
Who does this joker think he is?
What are you doing in this area?
My name is Hiro, and this is Ruby. Identify yourself.
I am White Knight Leo, leader of Althena's guard, and this is the dragon ship Destiny. Now then, listen up! You kids need to evacuate these premises. I don't want to see any civilians accidentally caught in the middle of this thing. Return home immediately. Move it!
Leo is extremely arrogant and talks down to Hiro, seeing him as nothing more than a child. He tells him that he should evacuate the area immediately before departing to meet with Gwen. Ruby and Hiro are instantly put off by Leo as he's totally dismissive of them. He speaks of darkness coming and a prophecy before he departs. At that, Hiro and Ruby head back home, curious what Leo wants with Gwen. Once they get home, they find that Leo is already meeting with Grandpa Gwen. They're discussing a structure called the Blue Spire. Leo warns of a destroyer coming through the Blue Spire and says that Althena has charged him to deal with the destroyer. Gwen is confused by all of this, and Leo is demanding to know how to break the seal to the Blue Spire's entrance. Leo even threatens to blast the Spire's entrance with his ship before inviting Hiro to join Althena's guard. He then departs and heads to the tower to confront the destroyer, who or whatever that is. After Leo's departure, Gwen tells us that Leo claims that the goddess Althena has taken human form again and is communicating with him directly to give her orders, which I have no idea what's really happening yet, but it feels like history could be repeating itself on Lunar. I know when I wrapped up the first game, Althena had been reborn as Luna, so my first thought here was that perhaps after Luna's passing, the goddess Althena was reincarnated and continues to live on? I'm not sure. I really don't know yet, but I'm hoping that I'll find out more soon. Gwen knows that something is wrong, and he calls Hiro up to his tower to see something. The Blue Spire has blue light coming from it, connecting all the way up to the Blue Star. And we see that something is entering the Spire from the Blue Star. It's an incredible yet very brief scene, and Grandpa Gwen is nervous. Hiro suggests that they go to the Blue Star to see what it is, and Gwen agrees to go as well, as they all feel that something big is happening. The three then gather up some items and head out to the Blue Spire to try and figure out just what's going on. Now, already, I am extremely thankful that I played Silver Star Story first, as my knowledge of that game does add a lot of context for this. I know about the first time Althena became human, and all of the insanity around it. And that lets me know that something is definitely different this time around. But I don't yet know what. So we push forward as I can't shake the feeling that something massive is about to happen already in this game. Now this is as good a time as any to bring up the combat in Eternal Blue. It's not really changed much from the Silver Star story, which is fine. I'll admit, I'm not the biggest fan of the combat in these games. But then again, I don't really play RPGs for the combat most of the time. I know it may be a hot take, but I love the games for their stories first. The combat is still turn-based, and you can still run your own choices or let the AI take control. And here in the remaster, we can also speed up the combat to make things so much easier, especially when we're treading through enemies in dungeons. And we have a lot of the same enemies here from the first game, which makes a lot of sense. It's the same world, and from a practical standpoint, reusing the assets had to make it a lot easier this time around and allow them even more time to focus on other things, like the story, which we're getting back to now. The tower is a puzzle in itself, navigating through to get higher. The design of the tower is interesting. It's not a basic early game cave or a forest. This place would be fitting as a late game dungeon to interact with. When we get near the top of the tower, we have to find a way to the next level and come across a hologram of the planet. From there, Hiro and Ruby are teleported to the top level of the tower.
It's so beautiful.
There's a massive green crystal there spinning, and it knocks them back as they get close. From here, we see the arrival of Lucia from the Blue Star.
My name is Lucia. I have come from the Blue Star on an urgent mission. This world is currently in great mortal peril, so I must see Althena immediately. Please take me to her.
She tells Hiro of her mission and is so cold in her tone with the two. Hiro, however, is absolutely captivated by her.
She's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
It's made immediately clear that she's not human by Ruby, who then beats the crap out of Hiro. Lucia then mentions Zophar for the first time. We have no idea yet who or what a Zophar is, but she's determined to meet with Althena for her mission. It seems to be of great importance. Hiro agrees to help, but Ruby doesn't seem too happy with the idea. The three are then transported back down to the level with Gwen, scaring the old man as they just appear in front of him. Ruby tells Gwen that Lucia is from the Blue Star, amazing him. He then reminds them that Leo is looking for her and they need to get out of the tower quickly. As they move over a balcony, Lucia is confused to see monsters in the blue spire. And before they can do anything, Lucia wipes these monsters out like they weren't even there. She then storms on ahead, and the others discuss just who or what she could be. Her power is incredible and dangerous, but Hiro is convinced that she's a good person. They rush after Lucia and they make their way down through the tower, with Lucia wiping out several of the enemies that we encounter along the way, turning this trek into a total cakewalk as she destroys the enemies with such ease. Now when we leave the tower, Lucia stares out into this world that is totally new to her, amazed by this place that she's found herself, as she looks up to the sky to her home, the Blue Star.
These winds, so gentle and calm. Is this the world Althena created? But how? I do not sense the aura of her magic power. Although, perhaps a veil of evil has hidden it away from my sight.
Lucia feels like something is wrong, but she can't place what the problem is. Grandpa Gwen asks her about where she came from, and he then muses about the Chosen, which we also don't know anything about yet. Lucia is upset that she can't reach out to Althena, but before we can discuss further, we're interrupted.
Do you want to know the answer to that, Lucia?
It's Zophar!
My, sweet princess of the Blue Star. Welcome.
I will never submit to you! What have you done with Althena?
Althena? Sweet Lucia, why don't you ask her yourself? Oh dear, I forgot. You don't know where she is. What a pity.
Zophar, I will not allow you to corrupt this world! Dragon power, shine forth! Fill me with the strength of ages to overcome the Destroyer! Oh no! What happened?
You can no longer see my powers, can you?
What?
Zophar is working to resurrect and tries to destroy Lucia here and now. Her attempt to seal him away fails, and she's struck down by the lecherous entity. The others rush to Lucia's aid, but she's badly hurt and needs assistance. The situation is already dire. Hiro and the others take the weakened Lucia, and then they leave the tower, moving out of the area as Ruby worries that they've gotten in way over their heads here. On their way out of the tower, they have to take on the guardian statues that were at the base. The statues coming to life now. Things look really bad here, and the enemies have the heroes on the ropes before they're wiped out by a massive blast as Leo uses the dragon cannon from his ship. He saves Hiro and the others, telling them to go home before asking about the woman. Thankfully, Leo is more concerned for her at this point and doesn't realize who she is. He and his men then rush off into the Spire, allowing Hiro and the others to get away and escape back to Gwen's home. Inside, they lay Lucia down and Gwen searches for a way to break her curse. The crew are not sure what to do here, but they know that the only thing that they can do is try to rest. Though Lucia stubbornly tries to take off on her own, fearing the power of Zophar, and she says that she's here to stop him from destroying the world at any cost. She is upset that the dragons didn't come to her aid, clearly unaware of what happened so long ago in the first game. She says that nobody can understand the nature of who she is. She clearly feels alone even here with them. It's incredible to have the knowledge of the past from the first game and see these characters all largely unaware. Gwen returns and says they need a priest to cure Lucia, telling them of one that he knows named Ronfar who can help, before offering his boat so that they can get to the priest. Ruby then jealously tells Lucia that Hiro is hers, the small cat dragon laying claim to Hiro, as Lucia seems largely confused and annoyed by Ruby. Gwen then tells him that he's staying behind and sends the three out to the boat to get moving. This game starts out so much faster than the Silver Star. We started out on just a childlike adventure that's already ballooned into more. Here, we're already helping a potential goddess to get a curse lifted so that she can meet with Althena to save the world. The game sets an exciting pace right out of the gate, and I'm already starting to see why Eternal Blue is the favorite to so many people. Now, once they get to the town, we get to see more of the charm of Lunar. The characters here all have strong personalities, giving this world a lively, lived-in feeling that really adds to the immersion. And as we go, we run into a man at the bar who tries to get them to forget about finding Ronfar. This man tries to get Hiro to gamble away Ruby before we take off and continue our search. Now, eventually our search of the town leads us to the temple, and we get a feel for just how much this world has changed. The priests here are extremely greedy, determined to get money through donations and largely ignoring the needs of the people. Even to touch the shrine of healing costs now. This is a far cry from Althena's church before. The leaders here only care about lining their pockets. I really wondered what the hell this world had come to when I was charged to heal, realizing that there's far more wrong with this world than I ever imagined. As we keep searching, we eventually learn that the people in the village are disenchanted with the temple as well. A few people hanging out near Ronfar's home, waiting on him to get back so that they can beg him for healing rather than trying to ask the priest of the temple. It's a sad state to find this world in. Such a friendly and wondrous world in the first game, and the first village we come to sees the temple totally corrupt. Eventually, we head back to the bar and speak with the man from before, letting him know that we figured him out before we're actually introduced to Ronfar proper.
So, you're looking for Ronfar, huh? What do you want with that useless deadbeat? That might even be too nice a word. Man, I can't believe he was ever a priest for Althena. Anyway, I'll tell you where your guy is if you beat me in a game. 'Cause there's only one thing I've found I can put my trust into. These babies!
He's become a gambler and challenges Hiro to a game of dice. The two play a few games before Lucia collapses. Ronfar then rushes to catch her and carries Lucia off to his home. Hiro and Ruby follow him and see that he's willing to drop the facade when it really matters. Inside, he tells us that he's no longer a priest. He gave up that life, and as he's about to tell us more, Leo comes into his home. The others are nervous now, and Ronfar steps out to speak with his friend, choosing not to tell Leo about the others. At this point, Leo warns Ronfar about Lucia, as Hiro is just hoping desperately that Ronfar won't sell them out to the overzealous captain. Leo tries to get Ronfar to join the Chosen, making it more clear that they are the ones who serve the goddess. He then brings up Maori, someone from Ronfar's past, and Ronfar gets quiet. As Leo is about to leave, Ronfar asks him to tell Maori to forget him. Leo tells him that he's too hard on himself and that he's heading to the sanctuary. Ronfar says letting go of the past isn't that easy before Leo departs. We now see a deeper layer into the Ronfar character. He's undergone some sort of tragedy in his past that haunts him, and he's surprised at himself for lying to Leo to save these strangers. But he says that he has a hunch that what they're doing is the right thing. Ronfar then questions Hiro about why he's helping Lucia, and we tell him that we believe that she needs our help. She doesn't know anything about this world and needs help to find Althena. Hiro omitting his crush on her. This leads to more self-abuse in Ronfar's mind, showing how torn he is as he asks for a game of dice and says that if Hiro wins, he'll assist him. Hiro ends up winning the dice game, and Ronfar says that the dice have decided that he's going to help them. This former priest now letting a game of chance determine his entire future. Ronfar tells Hiro that they need a statue of Althena and suggests that they take a back route into the temple. Lucia reluctantly agrees to go with them, and they sneak out back of Ronfar's home and through a cave passage, before leaping off a small cliff and making their way inside. Here we can find Leo ranting about his mission before sneaking on through the temple and over to the statue, just one room away from where Leo is. At this point, Ronfar starts to work to heal Lucia as best as he can. His first attempt left her in agony there, leading to a flashback of Ronfar trying to save Maori there with Leo. He is determined this time to succeed, using his power amplified by the goddess statue to at least partially break the curse, allowing Lucia to regain some of her strength before they head back to Ronfar's home to rest for the night. Once Lucia is asleep, Ronfar talks to Hiro about how exhausted he is now. He thanks Hiro before they all head to sleep on the floor. The next morning, we find that Lucia isn't there and rush to wake up Ronfar, but he's not having it. So we head out to look for her. The townspeople you meet say that they saw someone dressed weird moving through the town and were able to track down Lucia at the mayor's house. Well, sorta. She's in a meeting with the mayor and we're not allowed in. So we head outside to find a man who decided that public urination was just fine for him. And then a few other characters who had run-ins with Lucia, including a mother who tells us that Lucia watched her child for a while she ran to get some shopping done. We then see a flashback of Lucia with the child, and she's curious why the baby's crying. The woman sings to comfort the baby, and it completely confuses and intrigues Lucia. She's had no concept of music. Now, I can't even imagine the idea of not understanding what music is. Yet, she does describe it perfectly when she asks what kind of magic it is. This is one of my favorite lines from the game. Music has always been really important in this series. It was especially important in the first game with Luna's singing. And seeing this throwback to that and the juxtaposition of Lucia not understanding music when it was such an important thing back in the original game for Luna or Althena. Either way, for the goddess, it's just incredible. After this, we can head back to the mayor's house and we find that Lucia was gone. The mayor was apparently pretty upset by Lucia and when we find him to talk, he's in a terrible mood. The mayor gave her information on where to go find Althena, and he's furious because she left without paying him for the information. Hiro reluctantly pays the fee and admits that it doesn't make any sense. It just goes to show how greedy some of the people in this world have become. Lucia is out by the docks of some sand ships when they catch up to her, where she reflects on her experiences so far.
I did not know humans possessed such wondrous powers. That shouldn't be possible unless Althena was the source of these powers. What a strange world I've come to. Its beauty is unsurpassed, and yet it remains filled with such mystery and emotion. Why is the flower so soft, and the snake so deadly? Why do some love, and others hate? Is this land of contrast and contradiction the same one that Althena created? The land that Zophar rises to destroy.
Lucia.
Hiro, thank you for your assistance. I must go now.
She thanks Hiro and tries to take off without him on her way to the city of Pentagulia. This is a holy city that didn't exist at all in the first game, but this is way into the future. Now, as Lucia walks away, she reflects, confused by her feelings that she has about leaving. It's a feeling of sadness. At this, Hiro shouts for her not to go, and it put me to mind of when Alex made Luna come along with him on the ship to Meribia. But Luna doesn't come back to Hiro. She continues on, and now she's gone. Ronfar then catches up to Hiro and finds out what happened. He's shocked that they didn't try to stop her, and tells the two that Lucia is headed right into Leo's clutches. Hiro says that he will fight to protect Luna, and impresses Ronfar. At this point, he insists that he'll travel with Alex and Ruby to save Lucia. The three then depart in pursuit of the blue-haired stranger from the blue planet, trying to get to her before Leo does. They head north until they reach Dalton, where they find Lucia is on Leo's ship. She's arguing with Leo, warning him about Zophar, but he doesn't believe her, saying that Althena gave him direct orders to destroy Lucia. Something doesn't add up here. Lucia takes out some of his guards before Leo challenges her himself, and as she's trying to talk some sense into him, he just goes into complete denial as he sees that her self-defense is simply proof of his accusations. Leo then makes quick work of the still weakened Lucia, incapacitating her and having her hauled off below deck to be locked up on his ship. It's then that we see that the city's goddess statue has been destroyed, showing even more how twisted things are getting in this world. Now the party have to progress and rescue Lucia. They make their way through the city before boarding the dragon ship Destiny. It's risky as the ship is crawling with soldiers, but they have no choice, heading on board and trying to find their friend. The ship is massive with guards all over trying to stop Hiro. Again, these aren't really bad guys. They believe that they're serving Althena, the goddess of this world. Even though we know something has to be wrong here, and we do trust Lucia's word. Eventually, we make it to the lowest level and we see Leo interrogating Lucia, but she doesn't seem to be having any of it. He has the door locked and tells her that she's going to be executed before he heads on up to a higher deck. Even Leo's guard has a hard time believing Lucia is the destroyer, and Leo warns him about the wicked seduction of women. No joke. But Leo is convinced that he's right because he serves Althena. In different circumstances, we might be on the same side as Leo. If we were wrong about Lucia, we are just the same as him, but on the other side, which creates a pretty interesting contrast in this story. After he departs, we free Lucia, and she just doesn't understand why Leo wants her dead. He serves Althena, and Lucia is at least friends with Althena, so it makes no sense to her. She's upset about the issue with Leo, but she's thankful to the three for saving her, even though she doesn't seem to understand why they would do that for her either. Right as they're freeing her, they have to run and hide as Leo's returning, and when he runs into the cell to see where she's gone, the party rush up and lock the door on Leo, tricking him into the cell, and he's shocked and angry. He is convinced that Lucia has them under her spell, and he's upset with his friend Ronfar, insisting that he will be stopped by him no matter what. This may not have been the best decision. Leo seems more determined now than he did before this. Now, as they go to leave, Ronfar stops to speak with Leo, telling him that he's wrong about Lucia. Leo doesn't believe him and feels betrayed, but Ronfar's words are that of a friend trying to get through to someone he cares about, which can be really hard when life puts you at odds with someone you care for. They make their way to escape out of the ship, and they don't have much time to spare, knowing that Leo will be freed sooner rather than later. The villagers even speak really highly of Leo. I mean, as I said, he's not a bad guy. The crew then head north into the Starlight Forest as they travel, a dangerous forest that leads them to a place called the Dragon Tower. Ronfar scouts ahead, and the rest of us go to rest for now. Lucia doesn't want to sit though, checking out the tower. She can't understand why they're helping her when nobody else seems to believe her. It's an interesting scene where Ruby gets extremely jealous and possessive, but then Hiro tells Lucia that he wants to explore this world. His dream is to travel all over and to go on great adventures. He says that he knows that she would lead him on the adventure of his life, and now he's determined to help Lucia get to Pentagulia. Lucia seems happy to hear this, admitting that she doesn't fully understand him, but she's happy that he's with her. Ronfar then returns to let us know that Leo hasn't moved yet, but they need to hurry into the Illusion Woods. But he warns of the dangers there. He says that he has a friend who can help them to figure out how to get through the woods. After this, the crew depart into the Illusion Forest, and there's a man there who Ronfar mentioned, and he tells him how to get into the woods after a game of dice. They head inside just in time as Leo is close behind now. But without the man helping him, he and his men can't figure out how to actually get into the forest. They are relentless in their search for the destroyer, but find no way in. At this point, they decide to travel around the woods, which lets us know that this is far from over with Leo. As the party make their way deeper into the forest, they approach a clearing where they hear what sounds like a festival. They rush on up ahead and they find a traveling carnival here, and this is where we meet Jean.
She's the most skillful dancer that I've ever seen!
Huh? Well, thank you. That's awfully kind. Say, I haven't seen you before. Well, I look forward to working with you all. My name's Jean.
She is a dancer in this caravan. The whole crew are extremely friendly to Hiro and company, inviting them to stay the night here in the forest, as the woods are blocked ahead and they can't even get a way out right now anyways. This merry bunch is led by Gibbon, and he tells us that it's too dark to figure out a way through the woods for now, and they plan to deal with the vines blocking the path in the morning. Hiro offers to help as well in this endeavor, and at this point Jean walks off to cool down. Ruby wants to go talk to Jean, and when we get there she lets us know that they tried to cut the vines but they grew back just as fast as they were cutting them. This is something unnatural for sure. We then follow Jean and we get a wonderful view of the countryside as the blue star hangs in the sky. The group are happy to learn more about Jean and the caravan, and we learn that they too have issues with the Chosen. And at this point, Jean lets us know that she's sure that Gibbon will help us. But before we can speak further, a vine sprouts out of the ground and snatches Lucia. Then, without hesitation, Jean springs into action, striking the vine and putting it down, both impressing and confusing the others. She then gets upset and asks them not to tell anyone what they just saw before heading back to the caravan. This is a really weird situation that will unfold shortly. We then cut back to Jean alone briefly before a flashback of her running from some disturbing men who are exposed as members of a shadow dragon cult. She insists that that part of her life is over before cutting back to the party in the morning. The crew are up and they let us know that Althena's spring is nearby. They then all head to the spring to get freshened up for the day. We go to the spring and head inside, where we're told that the ladies and the men bathe separately. Simple enough. But of course, Ruby goes into the men's with Hiro anyways. Hiro then just goes along with her into the spring, splashing and playing with Ruby in the warm spring water before they're joined by a totally undressed Lucia. She approaches as Hiro and Ruby stare in shock, seemingly oblivious to what she's doing, before Ruby jumps in between them.
Hiro, look away! You're being rude! I know Grandpa Gwyn taught you better manners than this!
I don't understand. What's all the commotion about?
Well, you're on the wrong side, Lucia.
If you can't shut your eyes, I'll do it for you!
After we're scratched to hell by Ruby, Lucia is left confused, leaving Ruby to explain to her that the boys and girls don't bathe together unless they're married, leading Lucia to then asking if she and Hiro should get married, clearly not understanding what's going on. And we get a hilarious picture of Hiro covered in scratches before heading back out to the caravan. Now on the way back, the ground starts shaking and massive holes open up, with vines coming up and snatching up several members of the caravan. Jean tries to say that she can't fight and tries to leave them alone to rescue her friends, but Hiro and Ronfar convince her to go with them. She says that she has to save the others and can't keep running from her past. The crew then head down through the underground caves before encountering a massive plant that has Jean's friends captured. The crew then beat the hell out of this plant as it evolves before managing to prune it back to nothing and saving her friends in the caravan. The experience opens Jean's eyes, seeing that she can use her fighting power to protect rather than only to harm, as the cult had tried to instill in her. She decides to leave the caravan and head off with Hiro and the others for now, wanting to get out there and reconcile her past. It's a sad yet somehow heartwarming conversation with Jean and Gibbon, who is fully supportive of her, with Hiro promising to help Jean on her quest just as she helped them along on theirs. The party then depart the caravan and cut their way out of the forest to continue their travel towards Pentagulia, and there is still a very long way to go. Our next stop is Takar, and when we get there we see that guards are posted around, and we're warned about a hooded girl that is apparently trouble. Now we can explore the town, and I'm again just blown away by how lively these villagers are in Eternal Blue. The people here are so charming. They've got a ton of personality. It's that way throughout the entire game. I could spend a lot more time focusing on the NPCs here, but we'd be in this video forever, and it's already got some length to it. These people are enjoyable to interact with in ways that many NPCs in video games, even today, just aren't. So now, we head to the large wall to the north of the village, and a man tells us that we can't pass. This is a pretty big problem, and there's a bounty out on our party set by Leo and Althena's guard. We go to regroup at the bar, and we meet the hooded girl that we were warned about. She invites us to join the Magic Guild in vain and calls Ruby a flying cat. This blonde mystery woman seems really confident that they need her in order to get past this village. Hiro and the others try again to talk to the guard at the main gate, but he refuses to let them pass. The only thing that the guards really know is to keep the gate shut and absolutely do not let Lucia the Destroyer pass. Lucia is outraged, and Hiro steps in to try to keep from giving away who she is. At this time, the blondie in the hood sneaks up and calls them to go speak with her, saying that she knows another way we can go, but we have to go through a mountain pass and a haunted manor to proceed. Now there's not a lot of other options. We have to go with her and trust this hooded woman before Leo arrives. We trust the word of the mysterious blonde, and we depart the village on our way to Noda. The girl then dashing along another route to try and beat the party to the manor. They head through the mountain pass, which is teeming with monsters, before eventually reaching a rundown old house, the haunted manor that they were told about. This place is a dangerous maze to travel, and just when you think you're through it, the party come across a massive mechanized wind-up toy that wants to break them down. Now, as you beat on this thing, the machine breaks off into pieces before eventually being totally wrecked by the party.
Ouch! You
Then,
idiots!
the blonde
You
shows
totally
up,
destroyed
and
my
we're
Mega
winners!
Magic Tester! I guess you did pass. Ta-da-da-da! You're a winner! My name is Lamina Ausa. You have now officially passed the entrance exam to the Magic Guild of Vane. Did I surprise you?
And this is Lamina Ausa, descendant of Mia from the Silver Star story. She tells us that they can be charter members of the Magic Guild, which makes me sad because I know that this means Mia and Nash, who I know wanted to rebuild the guild, apparently failed and the guild was never fully restored. Lamina insists on traveling with the party, and her magic is much appreciated. She's just so excited to have you all as new guild recruits, determined to bring the Magic Guild back to its former glory. Ruby argues with Lamina, calling her pushy, and Lucia, well, she's interested in visiting Vane. The party all agree that it's a good idea to take Lamina with them, even if Jean does have to chastise Ronfar a bit. But from here, they head out of the mansion and make their way to a cliff. Lamina then tells them that she has a good way to get them all down to the bottom, fast and easy, presenting an old carpet. It's a magic carpet, of course, and we're going to use it to travel for a fee. She does tell us, though, that it's not meant to hold multiple people, but she's confident. Perhaps too confident. And everyone managed to survive just barely. Everyone, Lamina Alsa, the premier of the Magic Guild, and now our party is complete. I love how this party came together. They all have their reasons to be here. They come from all different paths in life that have led them together for this. There's a childish wonder that the Lunar games have that I absolutely love. The colors are bright and bold, the music is upbeat, and the parties are incredible. They head into a cave and have to navigate the tunnels, but thankfully it's a pretty small cave, allowing us to progress pretty quickly to the next village. There's several dungeons in this game, but none of them really overstay their welcome. It's immensely helpful for the pacing as we try to push through this story. Especially since so many RPGs of this time could get totally bogged down in these sprawling dungeons that sometimes felt really self-indulgent. When we first reach Noda, we come across a house that was given to Althena's Chosen, which feels more and more like a cult. So much is warped here. Noda is split by the people, two halves of the village at odds with each other. There's a river that runs through the town with one large connecting bridge, and when we go to cross it, we are confronted again by Leo. His ship comes through the river and we have to beat a hasty retreat from the troops. Somehow, we manage to evade them, and then we decide to leave town and head to the carnival where the caravan was located. Jean tells us about a device called the Magic Arrow that they can probably use to get to the other side and evade Leo. Thankfully, the carnival is nearby, set up and ran by the caravan. Everyone there is so happy to see Jean again. This place looks so much fun. It's so lively and colorful. This whole section of the game keeps the lighthearted nature of Lunar fully intact, even as I can't help but worry that Leo has to be somewhere nearby. When we get to the back of the carnival, we find the magic arrow and we go to ask Gibbon for permission to use it. Now, as we're talking to Gibbon, Leo arrives. The party run and hide behind the caravan cars, and Gibbon goes to deal with the guard. He's warned not to lie before Leo departs, but there's a lingering feeling that this is not over. Gibbon tells Hiro that we're all like family and then suggests that Lucia change her outfit to be a little less conspicuous. It's nice to have people in this world who are on our side, and despite not spending much time with Gibbon, it feels like he's a true friend. At this point, the girls take off to the caravan carts to help Lucia pick out a new outfit. As Hiro and Ronfar wait outside, Ronfar insists that they have to take advantage of this situation, before we get to see a cutscene of Lucia trying on some new outfits.
Oh, that's definitely not you, Lucia.
But I think the bow's kinda cute.
Next year's fashion rage.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Too far west. That one's not too bad. Are those balloons for sale?
Do you really think this is my color?
No, we're just joking.
Hiro does his best to try and stop Ronfar from peeking, but Ronfar gets way too pushy and causes himself and Hiro to tumble into the caravan. Lucia doesn't see the big deal, not being a human at all, but the others decide to beat the crap out of Ronfar and Hiro. Man, Hiro, this poor kid got beat up for trying to keep Ronfar out. After that, Lucia walks out in her new outfit, which Hiro seems to greatly approve of. She looks so much more relaxed. Gibbon compliments Lucia, which confuses her as she's not used to flattery. They then go to take off on the magic arrow, the crew climbing up into the device before Leo arrives. And well... we land at the top of a cliff, with the only way down being through an old ruin. The crew have now had 2 big crashes in a short time, and at this point, they have to figure out what to do next. There's only one way to go, into this ruin. It's sealed by old magic, and Lucia breaks that seal, impressing Lamina, who is stunned, as it was magic that humans can't control. Again, this shows us that despite looking the same, Lucia was not human. She is something more. We head inside and we're shown flashbacks to the battle between the Grindery and Vane. I actually got pretty emotional seeing all this again. We see Alex and Luna as Althena. Ghaleon and Alex preparing for their epic showdown. The goddess tower crashing into the sea. This brought back everything from the previous game. All the memories that thankfully are still there in the back of my mind. All those emotions, and just as I was coming to grips with what I was feeling, I hear a voice that I never expected to hear in this game.
That was a record of my best work.
Who's there?
To think anyone would be foolhardy enough to set foot in this place. Fortunately, I now have a chance to surpass it. The world will again be mine on a delicious half-shell. And you can't stop me, Lucia.
Ghaleon has returned and knows exactly who Lucia is. He calls this a plot twist, and he is absolutely right. Ghaleon then departed, leaving us to come to terms with what we just saw. And here, the magic of this franchise hit me like it had never done before. This series is special. The party are shocked by what they just saw and left to figure it out as they have to get out of this ruin. I spent the rest of my time through the ruin trying to process what I had seen. All of these intense moments that I've lived with for years hitting me fresh in this new story. Getting to understand that this is the same world and the adventure that I encountered before with Alex still matters to the Lunar world today. As Hiro and the others are on their way out, we find another familiar sight. A beautiful garden full of fairies, just like Ghaleon had in the Grindery. He may be the evil magic emperor, but Ghaleon has a soft side, a love of beauty, and of this world that he wants to rule over. He craved power, but he appreciated the natural beauty of the world. As we're leaving to head back out to Noda, we are attacked by Leo and the dragon ship Destiny. He threatens to blast the party with the cannon on the ship, and they're about to have to surrender or fight. The crew choose to take a stand here, and things look intense. But just as we're preparing to take a final stand against Leo, something or someone attacks the ship, blasting Leo and incapacitating him, leading us to the reveal that Ghaleon is the one who had saved us. There's no explanation given, and just as soon as we discover his aid, he disappears, leaving even more questions for us. The dragon ship retreats to take care of Leo, and this gives us a chance to push forward. Now we can get back into Noda and make our way up across the bridge. This place is full of character, but we need to keep moving because Leo will certainly be back on the chase soon. So we head north to the village of Zolon. There's a massive snowstorm here, and it's threatening the entire village. The snow could wipe them all out, and they believe that there's a monster in the mountains that may be responsible for this blizzard. There's people in the village in need of food and wood for their fires, losing hope. It's a really sad situation, and after learning more from the mayor of the village, Hiro realizes that it's even worse than we could have initially imagined. The mayor's granddaughter is ill. Her mother went into the mountains to find herbs that she needs, and she hasn't returned. Villagers have gone missing trying to deal with the crisis. And with all this, Hiro agrees to help. At this, Lucia coldly says that this is a waste of time. She is determined to push forward so that she can stop Zophar, and when Hiro insists on helping the village, Lucia says her goodbyes and departs, leaving us behind, leaving the village in dire need as she is focused solely on her mission, abandoning everyone to push ahead. I felt outraged by her. This was just wrong. She showed a darker side of herself that I really didn't understand or like, and it left me feeling like something was really going wrong as we pushed ahead without her to try and save the people of Zolon. The path ahead is treacherous with snow. The place is crawling with monsters, and we can use Ruby's power to open up a frozen path into the caves. This place reminds me a lot of the White Dragon Cave from the Silver Star story. We make our way through the cave and up the mountain higher and higher, searching for the cause of the storm and hoping to find survivors. And just as it feels like we're finally making progress, we're swept up in an avalanche. Everything goes dark. It looks like it's all over, but then...
Hiro? Hiro! 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 Wake up! Hiro, please open your eyes. For me?
Lucia has come back for us. She heals Hiro and Ruby. Lucia says that things feel different for her now. She doesn't understand the feelings that she's had, but they drew her to come back for them. And she saved Hiro. Lucia was a strong, determined, and cold character, but through traveling and forming friendships, she's changing. Together, they find and heal the rest of the party, regrouping as Lucia learns what relief feels like. Then, they encounter a massive beast that has been responsible for this terrible blizzard, clashing with the monster and wailing on it. The beast hits hard and can even call on more snow to try to take out the party, but he's really no match for us. Hiro and the others put this creature down and save the village, but once it falls, they know that there's still more to do. They find the mayor's daughter unconscious near where the creature was, and Lamina heals her. She even has the grass that she had left to collect for her baby, but she doesn't seem to remember anything. This girl can't even remember being a mother. It's an interesting twist in the story. The party get the woman and head back to the village with her, and the snow has finally stopped coming down. The mayor is grateful, but his daughter still hasn't remembered her past. She is convinced that she is a noble and wants to leave the village, abandoning her baby. They try to talk to her, but they get nowhere. Until, when they try to leave, Maria tries to go with us, but then the baby starts to cry. The mayor tries to soothe the baby, but it's no use. Lamina then tells Maria that the baby is sad because its mother is leaving, and Jean tells her to go to her child. Maria then rushes over and takes her baby, singing to it. The party come back over, and Maria says that she still doesn't believe it's her child, but you can tell her instincts drew her to this baby. Hiro is convinced that her memory will come back soon, and they leave. It's a heartwarming moment, seeing that even with amnesia, the call of a baby still drives its mother rushing back to take it. And now that we've saved everyone in this frostbitten little town, we can head south, finally reaching Meribia. This is the first town in the game that I really recognized from the original, and it was a welcome bit of familiarity, even if the village had changed in some ways. We learned that there's a 10,000 silver bounty for the party before heading down to Ramus's shop. Now it's a different layout now, but there's a Remus there, and I had to do a double take. We do learn that he's a descendant of the Remus from the first game, and this shop has been passed down through the family for generations. It's a really nice throwback to the original. And I know I'm not the first person who couldn't stop smiling when they went into this shop and met the current day Remus. Some sections of the city are gone now, but the biggest change is that Hellmel's Manor has been completely renovated by the city's new leader and hero, a martial arts expert named Lun. We find him training his disciples when we arrive, and he wipes them out easily before taking us back to his chamber to speak. Jean asks him about the Shadow Dragon Fist martial art that she was trained in. He says that he's never heard of it, which, given the dangerous nature of it, feels a bit weird. Jean tells him that she was a member of the Shadow Dragon cult before in her former life, shocking the party before we see a flashback to Jean arguing with the leader of the cult, a masked man who tries to manipulate her. When Jean resists, he strikes, trying to force her to surrender before he throws her off a cliff, attempting to kill Jean. It's there that she was saved by the caravan, and she tells of her desire to find that masked man. Lun thanks Jean for the information and mentions some bandits nearby at Tabin's Peak. The group are then sent by Lun to investigate, and they happily agree. It was an interesting meeting with Lun, and now it feels like we're back on track to move forward with the story. Lun offers for Jean to stay with him and to further her teaching, and she tells him that she'll consider it before they head out to Tabin's Peak. When we get to the forest, we see that the path to Vane is conveniently cut off for story reasons, and we see a white dragon that rushes off, and it looks just like Null from the first game. Ruby searches the forest for him before being told to shut up by someone and snatched by a young man named Null?
Who do you think you are? Put me down this instant or else I'll...
Or you'll what? Yeah, that's what I thought. My name is Null. What are you doing on my turf? I don't look too kindly on trespassers, so you better have a good story.
This had me extremely confused at first, but excited. He argues with Ruby and tells the party that they're trespassing before he rushes off. Jean doesn't recognize him, and Lucia says that his aura was not evil, but was pretty odd. We then head up into the large structure. Now, I had nothing to back this up when I was playing through the game, but I believed immediately that Tabin's Peak is the ruins of the Grindery, which is a great callback to that evil structure built by Tabin of the Vile Tribe. And when I looked it up, I was correct, which is nice to see this level of detail in this game. As we climb higher, we encounter children who ambush us with pine cones and beat the hell out of Ronfar with them before rushing off. We chase after them and they keep catching us with traps, like a pepper bomb, which absolutely cracked me up. It became pretty clear that these kids weren't bandits. A menace? Yes. Bandits? No. When we reach the top, Null was waiting and Ruby calls him the leader of the Shadow Cult. He thinks that they are from the Shadow Cult, setting a trap as a large net is dropped on the crew before the kids come out. Or Dragon Kids as Null calls them. It's pretty obvious that Null is not involved in the cult. This is nothing like the information that we received from Lun. Again, nothing in Eternal Blue is as it seems. Eventually, the party just rest with nothing else to do. And then, a kid comes to wake Ruby and Hiro. The others are all up and out already. We're being put to work. The music here is so light-hearted, putting me to mind of something more from a Studio Ghibli film. The kids are all playing and having a great time. Jean is dancing for them and Ronfar is cooking. We can head into the next area and find Lamina upset about babysitting. This is clearly not the bandits that we were warned about. We then hear Lucia and Null talking, and they know each other. As Null says that Lucia is from the Blue Star, we rush in. He asks us if his assumption is right, and we're confused about how he knows. Null makes his advanced age clear when he talks about how young Hiro is compared to him. This is Null that we traveled with as Alex, the White Dragon. But before we can discover more, we hear kids screaming and we rush to the roof to see that the cultists have captured several of the children. Null pleads for them to take him and spare the kids. Jean and the others rush in, but it's too late. One of the cultists is shocked to see Jean alive, but before they can attack to make the save, these cultists run away, diving off the top of the building to flee away with the children. It's a sad moment now. Jean is distraught, as is Null. He blames himself for the kids being captured. Jean asks if they can help, and Null is furious. He is about to decline them, but Jean tells him about her story. Null then makes them all tell him their stories, declaring that he's heard crazier, but he's going to give them a chance. He does have one demand though. He wants Lucia to stay with him as the others go and rescue the kids. The children here are excited and circle around. Null tells Lucia that they need her to comfort them, something she knows very little about, but I'm sure Null has his reasons. The kids take Lucia away, and then Null tells them to check the sewers for the cult. We can then head through the dojo or Ramus's shop, just as Null and his friends did so many years ago. Man, everything here with Null just had me smiling, even with the sadness of the kidnapped children. And it's not because I'm a psychopath, but because it made me feel the way I did when I first played Lunar Silver Star Story so long ago. It had me thinking about my first adventure in this world, and that memory made this current adventure feel even more special because of it. Once we're back in Meribia, we head through Ramus's shop and down into the sewers. This place is crawling with all sorts of weird creatures, and there's switches that we have to hit to get through. But it's not too difficult, and after a bit of exploration, we can make our way deep enough to run into the cult. They are about to load the kids onto a ship, and their leader is with them. He runs his mouth to Jean and sends his cultists to fight us, but these assassins are no match and we make quick work of them. Now, all that's left is to deal with the leader. But before he can do anything, Jean kicks the mask off of his face. He covers up before she can see anything, but some familiar looking hair is visible, and then he retreats without the children. Jean wants to take the mask to Lun, and we go to get the kids, rescuing them to take them back to Tabin's Peak. Well, sorta. They run off and head back to the peak on their own, leaving us to follow suit. We take the route that they came in from, and it leads us up into Lun's dojo. Now honestly, as a kid I likely would have thought nothing of it. But Lun's gone. He left to go to Pentagulia. The cult came from his dojo into the sewer. But the party is oblivious to this swerve. Now, as obvious as it was, it didn't hurt my anticipation or enjoyment at all. Just a throwback to a simpler time in RPG storytelling where things would sometimes be a little bit telegraphed. And honestly, I'm here for it. We went back to Tabin's Peak. Null is there to greet us, happy that the kids are finally back. Ruby fawns over Hiro and ends up scalded for it by Null. He then calls her out as a red dragon. She is surprised how he knew, and I imagine if you hadn't played the first game, you may be confused by this too. But it's cool to see that Null is this elder dragon in the situation. He then heads inside and we follow him before finding Lucia surprisingly singing to some of the children. This goddess who didn't understand what music was when she arrived here is now singing to the dragon children. I absolutely love seeing this change to her character, singing under the gaze of the blue star that she has called her home, humanizing her and giving Lucia a better understanding of the people that Althena has cared so much for. She tells us that the children taught her how to sing and that she likes how singing makes her feel. It's incredible to see the power of music in the Lunar games. Lucia says that they should go and they speak with Null, who gives us the white dragon wings. This will allow us to escape dungeons. He's also had the path to Vane cleared so that we can head to Lamina's home now. This little makeshift village for the children is probably my favorite place in this game. The lighthearted music and the happiness of the kids is infectious and gives a good perspective of what the party's fighting for. They have to get Lucia to Althena to save the world for these kids' sake. When we get to Vane, a man named Borggan has blocked the entrance to the city. I was frustrated that we couldn't just wipe out his goons and head inside, but plot's got a plot. So after Lamina finishes arguing, she tells us about the transmission spring as a secret way into Vane, sending us back into another dungeon. Now I realize it sounds like I'm not a fan of the dungeons in this game. But here's the thing. I love Lunar for the story and the characters. I'm not the biggest fan of the combat. I have no real problem with it, but the game is so driven by character and story that I just want to know what happens next. So for me, I just want to get through the dungeon parts and find out what the next part of the plot is. I know that's not the most popular thing for RPGs, but this is just my preference. Maybe that's why my favorite game is one where you can actually turn off random battles and has very few actual dungeons at all. Anyways, after we make our way through the Cave of Trials, we enter Vane through a back door. Even if we go and talk to the ones who block the entry though, they don't try to stop us now that we're inside. Which does make me wonder why they tried to stop us in the first place. But now we're here, Vane. Once the great floating city was never restored. All these years later, and it sits where it fell. It made me sad to see Vane in such a state. The wonder and mystique were long gone. But we need to hurry to the mansion to see what's going on with Lamina's mother and Borggan. When we get inside, we find that Borggan is a large man who apparently uses magic or some sort of magical device to get around. Not exactly looking like someone who likes to take long walks. And he's trying his best to woo Maria, Lamina's mother. Lamina introduces us to her, and she tells us that Borggan is one of the 4 heroes. And man, the bar for entry to be one of the 4 heroes in Lunar is certainly not what it was back in the days of Dine. And then, Borggan speaks.
Oh, look what we have here. Lamina, junior premier of the guild. Remember me? I'm Borggan, creator of Neovane and the most powerful wizard in the world.
Oh, I remember. I could never forget a face so beastly and grotesque as yours. I told you Vane was off the limits. Get out of here!
I cringed and laughed when he spoke. That voice fits a Saturday morning cartoon villain, and he does not impress Lamina at all. It's kind of funny, but Borggan does seem to have the ear of Maria. And as they're talking, Borggan teleports Maria away for what feels like no reason. He then tells Lamina that he's going to keep her with him in Neovane, a new city that he has built, and invites her to follow him to Pentagulia before teleporting away. Lamina is devastated by the kidnapping of her mother and doubts herself, running away to be alone. We follow after our friend out onto the roof of the building to see her staring off into the distance as Ronfar volunteers Hiro to go talk to her. She is distraught, feeling like a failure, and Hiro does what he can to try and cheer her up, assuring Lamina that he believes that she will restore Vane as she dreams. Now, Lamina sees through this and makes a joke about his attempt to cheer her up, but here's the thing, it worked, and that's all that really matters. It reminds me of times when I've tried to cheer my wife up by rambling about things on and on until it made her laugh. I may not be the best at a pep talk, but it's hard not to smile if you're laughing, and both things can help lift your spirits, as they did in this case too for Hiro and Lamina. But now, Lamina is fired up and ready to push forward to rescue her mother and confront Borggan. We then make our way out of Vane and we push ahead. We've been traveling for some time and Pentagulia must be coming up soon. As we travel south, we come across an area that we need to pass, but it's flooded over. Lamina tells us that the water is too cold to swim through, and we rest there for the night, as she is sure that it'll be lowered by morning. The party relax by a fire and reflect on their adventures so far. Each of the members opening up to each other about how much they've come to appreciate one another. Seeing this growth in these characters in such a short time is really wonderful, and it all feels natural. Now, after some time talking, they head to sleep, but Hiro ends up waking up early and finds Lucia is missing. He starts to search for her before... Hiro followed the sound of her singing before seeing far more than he had bargained for. Lucia is horrified and makes him run off. Then she's shocked at Hiro and at herself. Now come morning they don't discuss it, but both are blushing. Now, in Hiro's defense, they said it was too cold to swim across, so I can at least see how he wouldn't have expected to walk up on her swimming, let alone swimming as she was. And not long ago, she thought it was fine to join him in the water too. But this just shows even more how that Lucia has changed in such a short amount of time, becoming more and more human. We then head far south to a village called Aado. Ronfar is familiar with this place and says that we need to head to the shrine. We can also read the list of charges on the wanted posters for us, which upsets Melina for their commentary on her sense of style. Now after that, we should head up to the shrine as Ronfar suggested. We're looking for a friend of his, and as we approach the shrine, we see a massive statue of Althena that everyone agrees just something doesn't seem right about it. We head inside and look for the man that Ronfar is searching for, but he's not here anymore. Ronfar knows Jamil, who is the high priest now, and asks him what happened to the other high priest. It's a fun little exchange here, and the interaction between Jamil and Ronfar seems like something out of an anime. I can hear the discussion as I'm reading it. The dialogue in this game feels much more natural than a lot of JRPGs at this time. We're sent by Jamil to the house with the red roof to meet with Ronfar's friend, the former high priest Boss. We find that his son is outside and sends for his dad. The former priest comes out and invites us inside to talk. The party explained to him what they're doing, and Ronfar asks him about what's going on in the town now, but Boss cryptically avoids telling us for now. But he does tell us that Maori has been preaching in the city and has taken a big part in leading the temple in the town. She's been speaking of prophecy and has become a hardened and cruel person. Ronfar says that doesn't sound like the Maori he knows. The party then are invited to rest at Boss's home. Now, after resting up, we head out to the docks in the evening to try and find their way onto a ship. And they walk right onto the dragon ship Destiny, and right into the hands of Leo. Now, before we have a chance to respond, they pile on the party and capture us. Things look bleak here. Leo has us captured and wants to speak to Hiro. I love the detail that we can see some of his men laying there unconscious, showing that we did put up a fight before they outnumbered us. Hiro insists that Lucia is not the destroyer, and they try to talk sense to Leo, but he doesn't want to hear it. Ronfar then calls out Leo for not understanding what's actually going on. Now, just as he's trying to get through to Leo, tragedy strikes the city. Leo blames Lucia, but Ronfar tells him that the flame came from the statue above the temple. Leo wants to cut down Lucia, but Hiro and Ronfar get in the way and try desperately to talk sense to him. Ronfar seeming to actually get through to his friend. Leo frees Ronfar and Hiro, but leaves the others as captives for now, as he takes the two of them with him to figure out what's going on and hopefully save Aado. Fire is overwhelming the town, turning Aado into a maze, swarmed with fire monsters. Now, as we make our way through, we find Boss is unconscious outside of his home. Ronfar heals him, and Porum, his son, tells us that he is the one who told those at the shrine about Lucia. He thought he was helping his father. And only as I'm writing this do I realize that the name Porum, one of the child mages from Final Fantasy IV, which came out in the same generation as the original Lunar games. Now, I don't know if that's an intentional nod, but either way, at least I appreciate it. Now, we finally make our way up to the temple, and things have gone horribly wrong here. The priest at the gate tries to stop us, but he stands down for Leo, who has no time for him. The main level of the shrine is empty, and as we head up, we see a bunch of priests chanting in a scene that proves clearly that there is something sinister happening here. The priests chant without ceasing, as if unable to stop. Now, after this, we fight our way through levels of the statue, which are now crawling with monsters, before finally coming out at the top. The fire there is raging, and as we get close, it turns into a monster called a Flame Fang. Now, we're able to make pretty short work of the creature, which admittedly would have been much easier with Lamina's ice magic. But, anyways, once it's taken down, we see that the firestorm in the village has finally ended. Leo says that Ronfar has his support, and we make our way back to the Destiny. The chanting priests are frozen in place, apparently either dead or fainted, showing even more casualties of Zophar's ruthlessness. But anyways, we head back out to the ship now that Leo has been shown the truth. But he still seems angry, drawing his sword and saying that the will of Althena is absolute. And then he releases the ladies before saying that he will slay himself. But then his sister Mallory shows up and encircles us with fire.
Well, well, brother. It appears you become soft in your old age.
What? Mallory?
Althena gave a direct order to destroy Lucia. And for some unknown reason, you've chosen to ignore it. I guess it's up to me now. Bend to your executioner, Lucia. The game is up.
Ronfar and Leo try to talk her down. Ronfar is distraught with what has become of his love. Leo stands up to his sister and tells her that he's taking Lucia and the others to Pentagulia before Mallory departs, leaving them there on the ship. It's a sad sight. Leo seems to understand that he's been fooled all this time. And seeing how this upsets him, it makes it more understandable why it can be so hard to get some people to realize when they're deceived in real life. I mean, it is hard to accept that something that you hold dear just isn't what you thought it was. It hurts. And at that, Leo promises us safe passage to the Holy City, and we head inside the ship to rest. After we get settled, Hiro and Ruby go looking for Lucia. Now when they get to the deck, Hiro sees that Lucia's there before he heads back inside and makes up a lie to get Ruby to head back down and give him some privacy. It's only here that I realize that Ruby has never left his side the entire journey. And this deception adds a lot of weight to what's going on here. But Hiro then walks out onto the deck and sees Lucia there singing, taking a chance to try to get closer to her.
Sky brilliant with blue elegance. I couldn't be.
That's beautiful, Lucia. Althena couldn't have sung that better herself. You know, I almost can't believe that the end of our journey is finally in sight. Once we've arrived at Pentagulia, you can meet with the goddess Althena and your mission will be complete. Why don't you look happier about that?
You don't understand anything, Hiro.
Huh?
I'm saying you don't even have a glimpse of what's really at stake here!
But Lucia...
I came from the Blue Star to find Althena. That's my only mission. Zophar must not be allowed to return to full power. His evil will destroy this world. We must find a way to prevent his return, even if it... No. I came to this world to stop Zophar from reviving, no matter what the cost. Hiro, the only hope we have left in blocking his power at this point is to seek help from Althena. After that has been accomplished, my mission here will finally be complete.
Then won't everything be okay?
But then
Lucia?
This is all so confusing. I can't stop thinking about what will happen if... Oh, what's happening to me? Why am I hesitating just before finishing the task I set out to do?
Lucia, I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Of course you don't. How could you possibly understand, Hiro? Just leave me alone!
Hiro has no idea why Lucia is so upset with him. He's excited to have her journey near the end, and he just doesn't see the weight of what's going on. And Lucia hints here to having a much darker secret. The complexity of their interaction here is intense. Hiro's just trying to get closer to Lucia, not realizing that it's his presence with her and the others that's making this all so difficult for her. And we still don't know why. But Lucia is changing, and it's scaring her. Hopefully soon we'll find out why, as we're now at the holy city, Pentagulia. The music here makes it immediately obvious that this city is not what it's been presented to be. The organ music in a minor key feels so ominous and keeps its intensity up. And as we step off the ship, we're confronted by Ghaleon.
Welcome to Pentagulia. I am impressed with your cunning and resolve. Sadly for you both, the sands have nearly run from the hourglass.
Now, I immediately thought that I was up for an epic battle, but Leo seems pleased, calling Ghaleon the Dragon Master, another callback to the Silver Star story. He has assumed a role that he should absolutely never be in, and things here are looking really dark. Ghaleon tells us that he's been watching, which doesn't seem surprising at this point. He clearly sees more of the chessboard than we do right now. And after he departs, the party splits up. Each member has something important for them to handle here. Ronfar is going after Maori to try to talk some sense into her. Lamina is going to go confront Borggan. Jean is heading out to ask Lun for help in tracking down the cult. Everyone seems largely relieved to be nearing the end of their respective quests. Hiro escorts Lucia through the city as they head to meet with Althena. I felt so anxious here. The 4 heroes, a Dragon Master, and now Althena, but I know that Althena was reborn as a human ages before this game takes place. I wondered if maybe I was right in my thoughts that Althena could have been reborn again as a goddess. But we'll find out the truth soon enough. The temple is massive, and everyone here seems completely captivated by Althena and this great display that has been created. Leo is at the gate to Althena. Hiro tries to talk to Lucia to see if she's excited, but something is clearly bothering her as she says that she's ready to finally reunite with Althena. They head through the gates to the massive chamber, Ghaleon standing there waiting on her to arrive, and then Lucia says something feels wrong, being chastised by Leo for speaking as we see a clearly fake Althena.
Well now, if it isn't Lucia from the Blue Star, your journey must have been arduous. I do apologize about that. I welcome you to Pentagulia.
What is this? You are not the goddess Althena! Who are you?
Lucia is outraged by this farce and attacks the fake Althena, but is blocked by Ghaleon, who strikes back and incapacitates Lucia with ease. Clearly, the Magic Emperor has lost none of his potency. At that, Hiro steps up to Ghaleon, but this fight is laughable at best. We can hit him with our best attacks to do nothing. Despite our attacks hitting him well, it's clear that we're no match as he mops the floor with Hiro. The false goddess speaks to Ghaleon, and he seems mostly annoyed by her voice. He does not want to be called the Dragon Master. Ghaleon is not interested in this whole facade. At this point, I was kind of expecting him to strike out and take over as he did in Silver Star Story, but he doesn't. He questions Leo, but it feels like this is a game to Ghaleon. Leo takes Hiro with him, and as Ghaleon is about to depart, Leo notes that Ghaleon is hurt, and he acknowledges it before departing. Something big is going on here, and going through this section, I felt like a pawn in a much larger narrative. Now, Hiro and Ruby are left as prisoners, nothing to do but to ponder over their fate and that of their friends. They all traveled so far, and things have fallen apart. This scene reminds me so much of the moment when Ghaleon showed his true colors in the Silver Star Story. But then...
Why do you look so down? Never give up! Never surrender!
I know I shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth, but... what kind of cheesy puff is that?
A masked Leo appears, acting like a superhero, denying who he is and calling himself Mystery. Now, I don't know why, but this just makes me think about Gohan and the Great Saiyaman from Dragon Ball Z. And I love it. Now, Leo, of course, realizes he made a minor mistake before Ruby goes and hits the switch to connect the bridge. They then depart and start to look for their friends. Even Leo's tower now is filled with enemies to take down. Some holy city this is. From Leo's tower, we can head to a sub-level of the city and make our way to the other 3 towers. I head to the opposite tower of the northwest first, making the climb and dealing with the monsters along the way. This is where we find Ronfar. He had been captured by Maori and asked about the mask that Leo's wearing before deciding to just play along with the Hiro mystery. He tells us what happened, how he tried his best to get through to Maori and how she changed. He professed his love for her, but it's not enough. And she tells him that he made her this way, and now there's no turning back. We learned that the medicine that he had given to a sick and dying Maori was given by the false goddess. This entire plot being set into motion a good while back. Maori then got tired of arguing with Ronfar as her true self tries to fight through, but it's overpowered as she incapacitates Ronfar and has him locked away. Now, after we've saved him, I head straight down south to Borggan's tower. The path through these towers does become progressively easier as we get our party members back. And at the top, we find Lamina locked up. She asks about Mystery, and Ruby tells her about Mystery's help before we see what happened with Lamina and Borggan. Lamina confronted him, demanding her mother, and Borggan showed what a creep he is before telling Lamina that her mother is a Neo-Vane, which I think he actually told her about that back in Vane. But anyways, he speaks of marriage and Lamina becoming his daughter. She gets enraged by his words as he tells about Zophar's coming before stopping himself and then blasting Lamina with magic and sending her to the top of his tower. The last tower that we head to is Lun's tower, which is far easier now that we've got 4 members of the party to slice through the enemies in this place. This section did feel a little bit tedious to me because once I got to the first tower, I realized it was a rinse and repeat area. But I was still driven to push on, wanting to know just what happened with each of the party members on their distinct journeys. I have to admit that I felt like Jean's story was a little bit of a letdown. Not because it was a bad reveal, but because the way Jean handled things and the way it was presented felt very anticlimactic. I knew by this point that she was betrayed, but it came in a section where everyone in the party had been betrayed. Lun, of course, was the leader of the cult. He was the man who tried to kill Jean and turned her into an assassin. Her confrontation with him is emotional, and she seems devastated by him as he tells her everything. But I was just waiting on a bigger climax down the line between these two, and I felt that this was telegraphed when we found out, and the idea that the masked man had entered through the sewers through Lun's home was kind of a dead giveaway. But now we're back to full strength, and with that, the amazing Mystery departs us for an urgent matter. Ronfar muses that Leo wore the mask because of his allegiance to the Chosen, talking about the danger that he could be in if he was caught. We head down to the next level of the tower and we find Leo, to the shock of nobody. He tells us that he's going to help find the evil within Althena's organization and lets us know that there's a hidden path in the lower levels. So now we're on our way to find and rescue Lucia. Now, in these lower levels, once we travel a bit, we discover that the goddess statue is actually hiding the path. It splits open and we can make our way up into Althena's temple, where Lucia is arguing with the false goddess.
Your sick plan can never succeed, no matter how hard you try. You can never stop me from finding Althena and halting Zophar's return.
Why, Lucia, you're delirious. Althena herself stands before you. Don't you recognize me, darling?
You are not Althena. You are merely a human puppet dancing for the amusement of Zophar.
The fake Althena tells her about how she has taken on all elements of the legend, with her heroes and her Dragon Master, all done to perpetuate the lie as they work to rescue Zophar. Ghaleon starts to speak before being cut off by the false goddess, who continues to taunt Lucia and tell her the plan to sacrifice her to help bring forth Zophar's return. We then make our way deeper, finding more priests with a pentagram on our way to the main room, where Ghaleon lays out the whole ruse. His questions make it clear that he knows so much more than we do at this point. He then speaks about the 5 towers. Lucia tells us what we know already. Ghaleon knows more than us. And it seems like she spoke out loud about the 5th tower to give us this needed information. Leo is furious at the revelation and rushes off to confront the fake Althena, still not wanting to believe the truth after we rush to free Lucia. She tells us about the false Althena and the plot, and while we get a lot of repeat information here, it's all coming from the characters' perspectives, and does nothing to harm the pacing or intensity. We're in the Holy City, and it feels like we're about to have a massive confrontation. There's major endgame vibes as we move to follow Lucia, who senses Althena's power straight ahead in a lake. She assures us that the 5th tower is here and hidden, blasting the railing and leaping off. The party then rush in after her, all diving off of this balcony and into the unknown. We then come to land in an area that looked like the Goddess Tower, that familiar architecture. It is hidden within Pentagulia through magic, in plain sight. We're about to finally meet the real Althena, but before we can head inside, the fake Althena arrives in front of us. She tells us that the dragon's powers are sealed away and keep this tower off limits to us. Then the other false heroes show up and surround us. It looks bad and Ghaleon is called in, but he doesn't show, as we are overwhelmed with light as the dragon wings light up and teleport us away. After that, Ghaleon shows up confronting Althena before Zophar speaks.
Wait, Ghaleon.
Zophar.
Use what's left of your head. It is not necessary to roam the land chasing Lucia and her ragtag party of misfits. They will return to this very spot of their own free will. Lucia must return to this tower to meet Althena and complete her mission.
Yes, Zophar. But I'm certain that Lucia will try to free the 4 dragons you have sealed to save Althena. She must...
Then all you must do is fortify the defenses around each dragon. Buy as much time
Zophar and Ghaleon then have a discussion about what to do, and Zophar shows himself to be even more arrogant than Ghaleon ever was.
How will the humans influence her? And what will become of this world as a result? I'm excited just thinking about it. But really, that goddess is a fool beyond measure. What can mere humans ever hope to achieve? And to think she would overlook my revival. giving me the chance to become a perfect deity.
We are taken back to Tabin's peak in front of Null, who Lucia outs as the Null of legend. The White Dragon of Althena. He tells us that Ghaleon is the one who sealed away the power of the dragons. He wants the dragon aura to further the plans of Zophar, and lets us know that Quark was Null's father. Null tried to resist, but Ghaleon's power is terrible. Hiro agrees to help Lucia to regain the dragon auras, and Ruby continues to be oblivious to Hiro's feelings for Lucia. It's a nice change of pace after the super serious trek through Pentagulia. The situation is dire, but there's still hope. Now we're off to collect the dragon aura so that we can get inside of the Goddess Tower. We then find that Leo's dragon ship is nearby and head up to meet with Leo. Once we get there, Leo insists on fighting Hiro. He knows that the Chosen are wrong, but he needs Hiro to prove that he has the power to fight them. This battle is one-on-one, and Hiro is able to take down Leo in a pretty intense encounter. But once we have bested him in combat, he's willing to admit our strength. Leo gives us the White Dragon aura that he had been charged by Ghaleon to protect. He then gives us control of the Destiny, showing Hiro how to maneuver and control the ship. Hiro asks Leo to stick around, but he refuses, departing us and leaving us to continue without him. It's sad to see Leo go, but he has his own demons to deal with now. We take control of the Destiny, and now traveling the world is made immensely easier. Now we can head back and visit every city that we've been to so far, and while the travel can be slightly clunky, it's a welcome progression for the story at this point. We can get some nice character bits in here, like if we head to the carnival, Jean and Lucia will discuss music, with Lucia wanting to learn more songs, not yet aware of just how vast music can be. But now, we've got a mission to depart and find the White Dragon Cave. This bit did make me sad, realizing that Burke is long gone. I had hoped to find the monument to Dine, but the Dragon Cave actually hasn't changed too much, and with a little bit of work, we get to the main chamber, finding an imposter dragon there guarding the gate. The party charge in and cut down the White Fiend, this mockery of the White Dragon standing no chance against us, especially with the powers of Lamina's fire magic. Now, once it's taken down, we head into the chamber, seeing Null there waiting for us. Hiro throws the aura at the crystal and it shatters the seal, freeing his dragon power. Once it's freed, we see Null in his dragon form, massive and majestic, just as he was in his first reveal so long ago. Ruby is stunned seeing Null like this, and Null tells us to find the Blue Dragon aura next, saying that it was with Lun in Horum. Null takes out some icebergs so that we can head there and gives his crest to us. It imparts the White Dragon power that is given to a Dragon Master. So now, we are on the quest south for Jean to finally confront Lun as we work to free the power of the Blue Dragon. We make our way south now, heading to Horum. This place is dedicated to martial arts, specifically the Blue Dragon Fist. There's a martial arts tournament taking place soon, and as we head into the dojo, we see that the leader of the Blue Dragon Fist has challenged Lun to take part in the tournament, and they are not confident in their ability to defeat Lun. Shadow Dragon Fist versus Blue Dragon Fist. They're discussing strategy and the stakes of the tournament. Jean approaches and says that she wants to enter in the tournament. She was blown off briefly before they realize that she was once a member of the Shadow Dragon cult. Jean lets them know about her past, and they are horrified by the nature of this cult. Jean tells them that she has to do this to free herself once and for all from her past. They agree, but tell her that she must use their Blue Dragon Fist style if she wants to face Lun. Jean is surprised, but agrees to learn it. I was thinking at first about how wild this sounds, knowing that martial arts take time to learn and master. But it's then explained that the two styles are basically identical. The difference is the heart. The Shadow Dragon relies solely on strength and force, darkness. The Blue Dragon Fist relies on the light and the good in a person's heart, and to master it, you must be able to balance the two. Lun has only mastered the darkness of the discipline. Now, after learning this, Jean accepts and is taken to change to represent the dojo, given some time to reflect and prepare for the battle ahead.
Once, I tried to bury the past, but it would not be buried. Instead, it would haunt me. And so it has come to this. I will deny it no more. From here on, I must embrace the part of myself which I once feared and despised. I've decided I'm finished running away once and for all.
Jean returns, ready to fight. They are given the invitation to the tournament, and we make our way to the grounds. This place was designed for combat. The party enter, and we see smaller groups of warriors from all over here to take part in team-based combat for the tournament. From warriors in heavy armor to bunny girls. Now, as we look around, we see that Lun is there and arrogant as ever. Jean confronts him before we go and talk to the man who's running the matches, and we get this tournament underway. I was pretty excited about this part. I always love tournaments in games. They're great tools to push the stories ahead and a chance to test your skills in combat. Jean teams with Ronfar and Hiro, and they head up for the first round, taking on a group of blue armored enemies that we wipe out with ease. We then hear that the Shadow Dragon cult slaughtered the armored warriors, attacking them even after the fight just to show their ruthlessness. We then move on to the next round, wrecking the Wolf Guard. It's nice to feel the strength of the party's growth as we head into the final round to take on the Shadow Dragon cult. This is the battle that Jean has waited on. We headed into the final round against the cult, and even Ronfar echoes my feelings that we're about to wipe the floor with them. I had hoped that Lun would be there for this battle, but he wasn't. And as Ronfar suspected, we take out his cultist with ease. We win the tournament, and the party celebrate before we go back to confront the master of the Shadow Dragon cult. He agrees to face her after boasting about his power. Jean's determination is a stark contrast to Lun's arrogance, as he says that if he wins, Jean has to surrender the lives of her friends. And they all agree, trusting Jean. She has worked hard to grow as a person and to escape her past. Now, she has the chance to put that past to rest. Now, after Jean defeats Lun, he is able to see that she is more powerful than he ever imagined, and they get him to give up the blue dragon aura. Lun sees that he still has a lot to learn. He only obeyed Zophar so that he could focus on his fighting, but now he wants to reform his ways. It's a very nice change, seeing Lun come to realize that there's more to life than blind pursuit of power at all costs. The only issue I took with this story playing out as it did is that he's basically left to his own devices from here, and while yes, he says he turned over a new leaf and is good now, the man has been kidnapping, torturing, and brainwashing children for years. But in this case, I'll say that it's fortunate that we've got bigger fish to fry. So we leave here and we head to the Blue Dragon Cave. Now, after realizing that I didn't have to jump into puddles like in the Silver Star's Blue Dragon Cave, I was able to get through the dungeon quickly enough. Now, near the end, just as there was with the White Dragon Cave, there's another fiend, a bastardization of what the Blue Dragon represents, placed there by Ghaleon to slow us down. And of course, it won't really work. Hiro and the others cut the dragon fiend to shreds before they head into the Blue Dragon's chamber, throwing the aura at the crystal and freeing the dragon and its power. It's just as talkative as the Blue Dragon from the previous game, and he knows who Lucia is and the reasons for her to be here. Lucia and the dragon speak, and Lucia demands that he not speak about some things in front of the others here, showing that there's still something big that we can't know. But the dragon is ready to help when the time comes, giving the dragon crest to the party, leaving Ruby to wonder what kind of dragon she will end up being, questioning herself. I love that they were subtle in the growth of Ruby, and it's nice to see it all slowly coming together for her. Now, after we leave the cave, it's time to get moving, but as we start to take off, we see something massive. In the Silver Star, when we first saw Vayne floating in the sky, it was an awe-inspiring sight. Something amazing and exciting. But this? Neo Vayne feels wrong. And it attacks us, trapping the dragon ship to keep it from moving. So now we have to head out on foot to try to make our way forward. And there's nowhere to go but into a cave. This cave must have been part of an old mining operation, crawling with monsters as it seems to have been abandoned. Now eventually, we'll make our way out of the cave and into the city of Zabak. And yes, I'm struggling with a lot of the names of the towns and some of the things like that in this game. So if I'm pronouncing these in a way that seems weird to you, I know I should have addressed it sooner, but please just bear with me. I really am just doing the best I can with these. So we make our way through this maze of a city before we find the transporter to Neo Vayne. We then head up inside and we're welcomed in. The woman at the entrance is kind, but when we start to head inside, something goes terribly wrong. Jean and Ronfar are separated from the others and dropped into a dungeon. Apparently, all who do not possess magic are considered expendable by the people of Neovane. This is messed up. The city has an aesthetic that's not that different from Pentagulia. The people here are all magicians and all absolutely full of themselves. We search the city now, trying to figure out a way to rescue our friends. Eventually, we find and access the Zabak mines. We explore the mines before finding Ronfar. He's not sure where Jean is, and Lamina feels terrible for all this that's happening. Seeing how some magicians look at others without power, and she's just embarrassed by what she's witnessed. It's not too much farther ahead before we run into Jean. She's happy to be back with us and ready to get out of this mine. We push forward and make our way out, but the gate is sealed off by magic, and Lamina breaks the spell so that we can get going back into Neovane. This time we arrive just outside of some jail cells in the city where people who have crossed Borggan are being held. We leave there and we're taken right to Borggan for Lamina to have her confrontation.
Borggan.
Why, if it isn't little Lamina and friends. I trust you've had time to look around Neovane. Neovane is vastly superior to the original in every way. Once people forget about the old Vane, I will begin a glorious new magic guild right here.
Borggan intends to build a new magic guild and wipe the memory of Vane away completely with his new Neovane. And he's outraged when Lamina tries to set him straight. This city has opened the eyes of Lamina, and it's incredible to see her maturity as she confronts Borggan.
I said you're wrong! But so was I. I was obsessed with trying to bring the Magic Guild back to its former glory, until I saw this disgusting mockery of everything Vane stands for. That's what my mother was trying to teach me all this time. What's really important isn't status. What's important is that people join hands and work together. That's what Vane is all about!
He, of course, doesn't understand the truth of her words. Lamina is more determined than ever now, and she's come to realize what's truly important. So now, we have to beat some sense into Borggan. Now, after he falls, we take the Black Dragon aura from him, leaving him in a heap before taking off in search of Lamina's mother. She's nearby, and she's doing fine. Lamina tries to talk to her, and she seems to have little issue with Borggan. But then, the city begins to falter and fall. Borggan rushes in and tells us that the Black Dragon aura is the key to what kept the city up, and now that he's lost it, Neovane is going to crash. But then, Lucia takes control of the power and she safely lands the city on the ground, saving everyone inside. Borggan is upset with her before realizing that he has no powers now. He was a fraud and he's been left with nothing. He wanted this city to become important, but he feels like he's nothing now. Borggan begs Lamina to finish him off, but instead, she apologizes to him. Lamina sees what he had become and the selfish nature of the Magic Guild of old, and she wants to be better. She believes that they can work together and create a better world and a better Magic Guild. Lamina asks Borggan to help her create this better guild, and he doesn't think he's worthy. But he gives the key to the Black Dragon Cave to the party before they head out. Borggan actually wants to help now. Being humbled seems to have changed the man for the better. You know, sometimes we get so caught up in what we desire that we forget what's really important and what we really need and what matters most. And Borggan shows us here that sometimes being humbled is the best thing that can happen to us. We then head back to the mines and make our way through them to find the locked door to get into the Black Dragon Cave. Approaching this cave had me thinking about the story elements that we came across in the Silver Star. It feels like we're getting closer to closing out the story now, collecting the power of the dragons as Alex had done. The end of this cave is guarded like the others by a wicked black dragon fiend, and once again the party have to slice down this Ghaleon created distraction in order to unleash the power of the black dragon. This dragon is happy to see Lucia is here, knowing the mission that she has. The dragon understands how she is torn on what to do, and he speaks of the dream of Althena for Lucia. He seems so wise when he speaks to her, and the power to save the world before sending us off to unlock the power of the red dragon, leaving Ruby to finally face her destiny. We head out in the Destiny now that it's mobile again, and we stop at Tranquil, the village where Ronfar, Maori, and Leo grew up together. We find Leo here. He's been waiting on Ronfar to arrive before bringing up an epidemic that had struck the village years ago. The illness claimed the lives of so many of its victims, all except for Maori. Ronfar took a chance and gave a potion to her that has changed Maori into what she is now, this dark shadow looming over him. Leo is determined to find a way to save Maori and tells us that he needs time to think before departing us again. Ronfar is a mess here. He still carries guilt for the change in Maori. We look around the small village and we learn that Maori is cleansing souls and that people are coming back brainwashed. The village is scared of her, but they feel powerless, afraid to step up to Maori and try to stop her or the rest of the Chosen. One villager gives us a letter that Maori wrote to Ronfar while having clarity. It's heartbreaking as she tells him that she's like a marionette and asks Ronfar to cut the strings. We learn that the cleansing involves drinking a red potion, just like the one that had changed her. We go to speak again with Leo and he talks about what happened back then. He tells Ronfar that he had no way of knowing what he was giving her. He knows about the cleansing and says that Maori has the red dragon aura. Leo believes that they have to kill Maori, but Ronfar is having none of it. Leo rushes off to confront his sister, and Ronfar and the others go and find an ancient stone that may contain some of Althena's power. Lucia believes that this could help to cleanse Maori and break the hold of Zophar. So now we head to an old temple to the north of the village. This place is crawling with Chosen as well as people waiting to be cleansed and the brainwashed victims of said cleansing. We can't get too far right now as the paths are blocked, so we have to find another way to get deeper into this place. Now, as suspected, the inner chambers are crawling with enemies. This place is just as corrupted as any of the other holy places that we've been to so far. This world has fallen so far away from where it was during the time of Luna and Alex. Everything here just feels so fake and vile. We eventually find the stone, and Lucia releases Althena's power within it, which wipes away all of the influence of Zophar over the people that had been corrupted by this cleansing. When we get back to the main level, the people there are confused, disoriented, and importantly, back to normal. They realize that things here are wrong, which is a really refreshing change. There's still some hope now, and we have to find Maori. Her chamber is unblocked, and Leo is there, ready to confront his sister and to destroy her. But she looks confused, and Leo doesn't realize that we've lifted the curse of Zophar, so we rush in to stop him before he can do something terrible. Ronfar manages to explain to Leo that we have freed Maori from the curse and goes to her to try and talk to her. She seems confused to see Ronfar, and just as he lets his guard down, Maori moves back and lets them know that she is still deeply under Zophar's control. Lucia tells us that Zophar has had hold for too long for the stone's power alone to save her. Things look dark here as this being controlling Maori taunts us. Lucia then offers Ronfar a way to save her. She can send his consciousness into Maori's, but this could cost Ronfar his life if he fails. Despite that, he insists on doing it and collapses as his spirit is brought into her mind, and the battle with Maori is about to truly begin. Ronfar is inside of her mind now, and as he explores, he sees memories of a time when a younger Ronfar tried and failed to save her from monsters, as this creature controlling her tries to insist that it's too late and that her heart is gone. Ronfar heads in and speaks to the Maori personas, trying to find the real her as the party battle a demon incarnation created from Maori. This thing is big and twisted, but the party smash the creature hard before we head back in to check on Ronfar. Back into her memories, the men of the village drive off the monsters, and Ronfar says that he wants to be stronger so that he can protect her. Even back then, Ronfar was in love with Maori. He vows to always be there to protect her. The two were so happy back then. Ronfar intends to keep his promise. Now, we jump ahead to see this force overpowering her. Ronfar comes to speak to her about what she's doing, asking if she is the one hurting others. She insists that it's not before starting to struggle with control. The evil force works hard trying to get rid of the rest of the former Maori as Ronfar moves to confront her again. He insists that this is not the Maori that he knows and loves, and we return to the battle where the creature has warped even further. The party pound the hell out of this demonic creature before we find Ronfar and Maori both laying lifeless on the floor. Lucia tells us that if he can't open her heart, they will both perish. Now, it's all in Ronfar's hands as he struggles to return the real Maori This scene, seeing him struggle to help find her true self and bring her back, is a heart-wrenching scenario. He has to confront his own past and mistakes in order to push forward. Ronfar pursues Maori, finding her back at the statue where the memories first started. The real Maori is there now. She remembers all of the evil that she has done under Zophar's control, and she begs Ronfar to just leave her. But of course, he can't, and he won't.
I've done such horrible things to so many people. I should be punished alone in this world. So please, Ronfar, go home. I can't bear to let you see what I've become.
The Maori I knew understood the pain in people's hearts and healed them gently. She felt the pain of others more acutely than even they did. And that Maori is standing before me, punishing herself for things she couldn't control.
But Ronfar,
Maori, I won't leave you alone again. If there is a burden to carry for what you've done, put it on me. I can bear it. Just come with me. I can show you the love you deserve.
Oh, Ronfar, my love. Ronfar, are you sure? I don't...
Oh, Mallory, you haven't changed at all. This is the feeling I missed all those years.
Ronfar!
I could have explained what's happening here, but Ronfar's words to Maori were far more powerful than any that I could have come up with. Ronfar has saved the love of his life. They are reunited with the rest of the party. Leo is grateful to have his sister back. Maori is just happy to finally be herself again, free of Zophar's evil. And at this, Leo starts to walk away. He says that his work is done and that he is not necessary. The White Knight who has fought for good departs, a heartbroken, haunted man. Maori surrenders the Red Dragon aura and tells us that the path to the Red Dragon cave is here in this room. She then heads back to Rakuli village and we head into the Red Dragon cave. Now, it's time for Ruby to shine, and she is scared. She doubts herself, not sure if she can do this. Null then arrives, having been watching Ruby all this time. He comes to tell her that she is eternal and she has an important job. He talks about losing those that we care about and chastises Ruby, telling her that she will eventually lose all the friends that she cares for, just as he has. But he then assures her that the memories will live on with her. She needs to value the time that she has with them and keep these memories. Ruby is a dragon and she has an important place in the world. Null lets her know that he is here for her. And with his words in her heart, the party head into the Red Dragon Cave. Now, despite the fire here, it must still not be too hot because the party aren't burnt to a crisp, making their way through the cave and its multitude of enemies before running into the final of these elemental fiends that were set in place to buy time for Zophar. This is another tough battle, but with the party determined, we battle through this and we make our way to the inner chamber of the Red Dragon Cave. Hiro tosses the dragon essence to the crystal just as we had before, but nothing happens. Instead, the cave starts to tremble, and Lucia says that Ruby has to accept the power or they're all going to perish. Now, she looks at them and says that she doesn't want to grow up. Ruby wants things to stay as they are, but time waits for no one. Hiro reminds her that they will always be with her in her memories, giving Ruby the encouragement that she needs as she admits that she knew this day would come, but she was afraid of losing all of them. But now, Ruby finally gets it, and she's ready.
I want to grow up. I want to become a full-fledged dragon. Honestly, I'm still a little scared, but I know that I can't accomplish my goals as I am now. Just like the rest of you, I also want to protect my beloved Hiro and everyone else. So, in order to make that dream a reality, I have to go through with this. I have to accept my power and become a full-fledged dragon!
Now, she's taken her true adult dragon form, accepting the dragon's power before reassuming her normal form, deciding that she likes it best. But she has taken on the power and gives us the red dragon crest. Now, aside from the cool armor, we have all the powers that were given to the Dragon Master so long ago. And with the power of the dragons, it's time to return to Pentagulia. However, as we are leaving the cave, the ground starts to shake and the sky goes dark. Zophar is coming. The world is trembling and the false Althena is terrified. She knows that the dragons are revived, and she's absolutely horrified and desperate. Zophar speaks to her and comforts her, letting her know that he has a plan. He promises the fake Althena eternal youth and beauty, getting her to calm down, even if she is still scared. She then sees Ghaleon and starts to accost him. And it's absolutely interesting to watch as Ghaleon just pushes her aside. He is truly a villain that is hard to hate in this game. He feels like he's just a step ahead of everybody else. We then go back to the party and Ronfar's desire to change his underwear before they head out of the old temple so that they can start their journey back to Pentagulia. When they're closing in on the city, Ghaleon appears on the ship.
Ghaleon!
What are you doing here?
Zophar's restoration is not quite complete, and you've been making faster progress than we expected. Therefore, it's my job to create a little crisis.
He's here to slow us down, and Lucia confronts Ghaleon. He tells her that he intends for the world to be reborn without a goddess before attacking Lucia. But she is unfazed, and as he powers up an attack, she shields the party, amusing Ghaleon, who decided not to go for a full force attack after all, as if he was testing Lucia. It's a weird situation. but it did make Lucia question herself even more. She manages to collect herself and calls for the dragons to come to her aid. Ruby, Null, and the others come rushing up to assist Lucia. It's an awesome sight as they rush in at Pentagulia and unleash their devastating power on the city. The party look on as the dragons wipe out all of the other towers, destroying the seal on the goddess tower. Ruby then returns to the party before Ghaleon speaks up. The words shake Lucia, but we have to proceed.
Tell me, Lucia, what weighs so heavily upon your heart? You should be thrilled, dear Lucia. Your mission is nearly at an end. Go forth, Princess of the Blue Star. Go forth and meet with the goddess Althena. Or are you starting to realize what the consequences of that meeting will be?
We dock at the ravaged city and we make our way over to the goddess tower. There are monsters here, but they don't try to attack us as we make our way into Althena's fortress. The party are amazed that this place is real and talk about the legend of humans leaving the Blue Star with Althena to come to this planet. We then head inside. The place looks like it's been heavily damaged, possibly from when it crashed into the ocean so many years ago. This feels like the end as we fight our way higher, knowing that something huge is about to happen. As we make our way higher through the tower, we come to a holographic image of the Blue Star and Lunar. Lucia tells us that this place was made to channel magical power and deliver it back to the Blue Star to help in its restoration. That has been the purpose since they were forced here to escape Zophar so long ago. Then, we finally get the story of Zophar.
Long ago, Zophar, the god of destruction and darkness, came to the Blue Star. He preyed on mankind's greed for wealth and power, creating anarchy and chaos where there was once peace and love. Mankind fought one another with furious anger, spilling the blood of others without fear of consequence.
This story is the legend of Zophar, and now we finally learn what makes this entity so terrible.
Feeding on the dark desire within the hearts of humans, Zophar's power grew exponentially. He used that power to pervert mankind further. Humans, wild with bloodlust, were transformed into hideous beasts. The people suffering under Zophar's reign of terror implored Althena to rescue them. The battle raged on as the people of the Blue Star cried out for solace. And then... in the end, the Blue Star was laid to waste, as Zophar intended. However, all hope was not lost on that fateful day. A gleaming sanctuary loomed large in the sky. The once dead world of Lunar was transformed into a thriving land of wonder. Althena moved the surviving humans there and left the Blue Star to safeguard them. Meanwhile,
Zophar is a true blight on existence, and the energy needed to take him down devastated the Blue Star, and Althena had to turn the moon into a new world for the humans. This is the true backstory of the entire series. Lucia stayed behind to oversee the Blue Star's resurrection and recovery. She gave up everything to stay there and help safeguard what she and Althena had created here, this dream to return someday. After hearing all of this, the party pushed on, Hiro encouraging Lucia to keep going before we head higher through the tower. After a bit more travel and taking on evil monsters in the tower, we eventually reach the top chamber. When we head inside, we see Ghaleon has been watching us. His foreshadowing sent a chill up my spine, realizing that was still more here to uncover. For all we know, this story has not yet reached its climax. We then see the fake Althena panicking as the party approach. She cries out for Zophar to protect her, but despite all that she has done for him, Zophar betrays her, warping the false goddess into a monster to take on the heroes. I almost feel bad for her, more pity than anything. This fake Althena was willing to do anything for beauty and eternal life, only to be warped into an absolute monster by Zophar for all of her faithfulness to him. Even the enemies in this game are eventually victimized by this great destroyer, who doesn't care for these people at all. The only thing that Zophar cares about is total destruction. Once the false Althena falls, Lucia reminds us that Zophar cannot be trusted. Then we push forward, entering the chamber where our last story climaxed. And inside, we find Null. He tells us this is the home of Luna, Althena. Here, Null shows Lucia the truth, something that he has kept from us this entire time. He then tells us that he believes in all of us, and he kept his promise to Luna. And we see Null tearing up as he reflects on the heroes of that age. And going through this, it brought a tear to my eye too. I was right there with Null, remembering my friends, even as I had made all of these new ones. The memories living in the heart of Null and all of us who were there with them for their adventures. And here, we finally hear from the goddess Althena.
Yes, the goddess Althena no longer exists in this world, Lucia. Let me explain so that you will understand. My task as Althena was to lead the humans and control the power of the Silver Star, so that one day when the Blue Star was reborn, the humans could return and we could begin anew. But you see, I came to know that while I existed, the humans were not truly happy. They lacked a sense of self-reliance, a sense of pride in their accomplishments. They had become too dependent on me. You see, Lucia, Lunar no longer existed solely for the sake of the Blue Star. So I chose to make my next rebirth my last, and live out my life as a human girl. Yes. See, the people, they no longer needed a goddess as they had the freedom to take charge of their destiny. And now, Lucia, you have come here seeking my power. And yet, I no longer exist. But what you must know is that you hold the power to accomplish your mission. It has been near since you arrived. I truly believe that humans have the ability to rise up in the face of any adversity, to make the future bright for future generations. Lucia, you have never been alone on this journey. To reach this tower, I know that you must have had the help of many good friends. If you trust what you felt in this journey, and also in the power of the companions who have stood close at your side, then you need only to believe in the power of humanity to gain it. If that power becomes yours, you shall achieve the one thing Zophar fears most: victory.
Althena's great secret has been explained to Lucia. Althena was gone. She wasn't reincarnated. She took the form of a human, of Luna, and lived a happy and full life. But she knew that this was all coming, and she left this message here with Null to give to Lucia. Seeing Luna in her advanced age only added to the emotional weight I felt playing through this part of the game. Yet, Lucia didn't feel comfort. She felt anger, betrayal. Lucia needed Althena, yet Althena was gone now. She was left feeling alone, even as the others tried to comfort her. Hiro trusts Althena's word, as do the others, believing that they have the power to defeat Zophar if they just fight together. But Lucia, she just couldn't believe. Everything she was working toward, her mission, was all upended by Althena, and the weight of her mission on her shoulders was overwhelming Lucia. She believes that there's only one thing she can do: calling for all of the power of Althena in one terrible moment, where she took all of the magical power of Lunar from the world, claiming that power for herself. White light enveloped the world as she stripped it of all magic. She then apologized to Hiro before taking off. And now, the others start to realize what she truly did. Left without any of their powers. They are helpless now and leave the tower to try and figure out where Lucia went so that they can help her. Still not willing to abandon their friend. We get back to the Destiny and realize that there's nothing we can do. Moving away from Pentagulia just as something massive envelops the city.
Jean, can you see what's happening up there?
What is that thing?
Hiro! Hiro, look! Up there!
And from the sky, Zophar descends. I was torn throughout this video, as I have been in many others of mine, with including the cutscenes. But with scenes like this, they truly tell this story, and sure, I could just talk over them, as I am here, but when there's dialogue, they tell powerful stories, and I believe that their inclusion adds to these videos, letting you see how these scenes add to the weight of what's going on in the games. And this one was certainly a doozy.
That's the fortress of Althena. But why is it...
And now, we see that the Goddess Tower was swallowed up, as Zophar's resurrection is complete.
Heaven help us all.
Zophar.
The massive evil that destroyed the blue planet, and now he's draining this world of power. Wiping out all of the water in this area, leaving a massive scar on the planet, as we see the more moon-like surface of Lunar, where the sea had been. His power is awesome and terrifying. The Destiny is stuck here, and we can see Lucia there trying to confront Zophar.
Oh no. Lucia!
The time has come. You don't belong in this dimension, Zophar. Your evil corrupts everything. I'm sending you back to where you belong. Permanently.
If you're certain you've mastered Althena's power, go right ahead.
The monster challenges her to attack, and Lucia has her great confrontation. Zophar tells us that Lucia is supposed to destroy the planet to take him out, and she argues with him as he calls her a failure. But Lucia hesitates.
What's wrong, my dear? Your mission is to destroy the Blue Star. Why do you hesitate to abolish me and complete it? The goal is within your feeble grasp. Take it! Just as I foretold, you are not fit to carry out your assigned task, Lucia.
Liar! That's not true!
Then destroy me and accomplish your mission.
What the heck are you waiting for? Get in there and kick his stupid, mega, ugly butt, Lucia!
I got 20 silver that says you can take him down!
Lucia.
Do you believe in the power of humanity after all, as Althena did? Lest you forget, they enabled my return with the power of their dark nature.
See, Zophar is manipulating Lucia and moves in closer to taunt her. He tells her that using the power will destroy this world as well as it did the Blue Star, a sacrifice that Lucia is not prepared to make.
Althena's power is your only hope, Lucia. Destroy me with it, and decimate this miserable world in the process.
Lucia never told me that. He has to be lying.
You fools understand nothing. Althena's power is the power of creation, and there can be no new creation without disposing of the old. Unleashing that power on me will reduce this world to ash, just like the Blue Star.
Hiro now knows the secret that Lucia was carrying this entire time, the reason that she feared getting close to them.
Althena didn't do that. You're lying!
Ah, you only wish I was lying. Then it would make it easier to delude yourself into believing in a happy ending.
Zophar! It was the only way to stop you from destroying everything! She had to.
Lucia says it was their only choice, and we see Althena's sacrifice so long ago to defeat Zophar, and the devastation that it brought to the Blue Star. This destruction set everything in motion. Zophar uses Lucia's guilt over what her mission can lead to. He gets inside of her head, leading Lucia to freeze there in place, unable to do it.
But after Althena saved the Blue Star, it was nothing more than a cinder. And for what? For the misguided hope that one day you could return the humans to it? You've spent too much time around these humans, Lucia. You've taken on their naive foolishness. Allow me to remind you of this cold, hard fact. The same power of humanity Althena believed in is the very one that revived me. Come, my pet. Why do you hesitate? There is no need. Destroy me and everything you've come to love. Complete your mission.
Althena's radiance! Shine forth!
She knows what she's there to do. And as she starts to summon up the power, everybody watches in horror. Her energy encircled Zophar, but she just can't do it. Her heart breaking as she worries about her friends.
I must remain focused on my task.
What's wrong, Lucia? You seem to be distracted. But I have the solution. Allow me to remove the source of your hesitation.
Then, Zophar fires a blast at the Destiny to wipe the party out. But Lucia throws herself in harm's way to save them, using all of her power to protect her friends, which leaves her helpless and captured by Zophar.
Have fallen into place. My plan has worked perfectly. You are a weak fool, Lucia. Worrying about the fate of insignificant humans will cost you dearly. I will enjoy the look on your face as I tear everything you've come to hold dear away from you.
Go away!
The demonic entity has taken Lucia as a prisoner, as the others are helpless to watch, now wielding both his power and that of the goddess Althena. Lucia then uses the last of her energy to teleport the party away from Zophar.
We'll start anew, but this time it will be the creation of my design. Worlds will rise to a glory or wither to dust at my whim. And the best part is that no one can stop me.
We lost. Lucia lost. Sometime later, we come back to see Hiro on the roof of the mansion in vain, when Ruby comes for him, sending him down to meet with Meribia. We speak with her, seeing Borggan is there with her. She tells us to go gather the others before she'll speak with us. It's clear here that Borggan is in love with Meribia. We head out into a much more dire world now. There's no music. The magical feeling of Lunar has faded. The others are all here, trying to figure out what they're going to do next. Jean is training with Lun and says that we all have to be stronger to go after Zophar. We find Lamina in the old Cave of Trials. She is struggling but refuses to give up. She then makes it clear that, giving up is something that she is never going to do. Ronfar is with Mallory in the library, and he says that he's not ready to give up either. He's got reasons to fight and someone to fight for. It's awesome that nobody in this party is willing to give up. They're all inspired and ready to push on, to fight Zophar and stand up to the great evil that is threatening their world. After speaking with everyone, we return to Meribia, who tells Hiro that he is the one who taught the others to never give up. She also says that there's someone on the roof who wishes to speak with Hiro, and we go up top to see Leo. He's still ashamed of his role in all of this and how he had helped Zophar. But that is why now he wants to fight alongside us to save this world. They don't have much time. While everyone else is confident, Hiro is struggling now with his own confidence. And as they go to head back downstairs...
My. Looks like the hero doesn't pass muster in our little morality play. How delightful.
Ghaleon!
Well, now that you have failed in every possible way imaginable, the whole world awaits execution at Zophar's hands. But that's too good an end for you. You're not worthy to live for Zophar's judgment. Your bringer of death is me.
Ghaleon challenges Hiro to fight here, and on the roof of the building, he asks if Hiro just wants to surrender. He slashes at Hiro's spirit with his words, calling him out for his fears, questioning him before Hiro says that he's not afraid of Ghaleon or Zophar, saying he doesn't understand why Lucia was suffering. For Ghaleon to tell him that it was because of Hiro that she suffers. If not for him, she would have had no problem taking out Zophar. But he made her appreciate the people and made her care about him. Then, Ghaleon blasts Hiro and asks him how he can do anything. Ghaleon amused as Hiro keeps trying to get up. And then, the others rush to Hiro's aid.
I think you're getting ahead of yourself, Ghaleon. We will not abandon our brave friend in this time of need.
Besides, you're trespassing. I never invited you to the guild. I don't know what your motive is, Ghaleon, but we will stop you. Right here, right now.
You guys...
What can you possibly hope to accomplish now? You know as well as I that magic has been diminished in this world. You have nothing left to fight for. Just give it up.
Ghaleon is amused and challenges them all to combat now that they don't have their magic. It's incredibly uplifting hearing all the party speak up against Ghaleon. And this is a hard battle. Ghaleon smashes them with his power, and without our magic, we're still going to do what we have to hit him with our own strength, showing that we won't stop fighting while we can. And then, the battle ends. After giving him a display, Ghaleon tells them that they can't defeat him, blasting them all with magic and mocking the party, yet they refuse to give up.
But we're not out.
Until our dying breath, we will resist you!
We will never bend to your will.
You can't defeat us, Ghaleon. We're fighting, not for ourselves, but for the lives and the future of all humanity. That power is stronger than you'll ever know. I fight for Lucia. I fight for my life, and for the lives of everyone in this world.
Your magic returns to you. But of course it does. The courage to live in a way you won't regret. The desire to protect the ones you hold dear. Those emotions are the true source of the power we call magic. Now show me, humans! Show me the full extent of the power that once defeated me!
Now, the party have regained their magic through force of will and the desire to fight for something bigger than themselves. Ghaleon then surprisingly demands that they show him their power. He wants to see just how strong they are. And it's a tough battle, but now that we're recharged, the party managed to persevere. This change in Ghaleon's heart is one of the best things in this game to me. He isn't evil. Even as the Magic Emperor, he thought that he was doing the right thing. And now, as his body is crumbling, he had this second chance and he wanted to test the party.
Hiro, wipe the sorrow from your brow. Even though I must again die, there is no regret in my heart. I have tried to atone for my sins of the past by helping you. I am grateful that I had this opportunity.
Ghaleon!
Ghaleon had his redemption arc. He gifts his sword to Hiro and encourages the party to continue, telling them that they have to kill Lucia to take her power in order to defeat Zophar. But Hiro insists that they can and will save
That's what you were
Lucia.
really hoping to hear, right?
I guess so, Hiro. I had a feeling that would be the path you all chose. But Zophar has become a perfect deity. Your chances of victory are 1 in 1,000. No, 1 in 1,000,000. Do you still insist on fighting him regardless?
This conversation is Lunar's big moment. This is the climax where the party come together and go to save the day. The party go back to the Destiny to pursue Zophar in one final battle. The most emotional moment for me was when everyone departed and Ghaleon spoke to the spirit of his long-gone friend, Dine, before Ghaleon fades away.
Well, Dine, are you watching? These children shine with your light.
This had me in tears. The redemption of Ghaleon is easily one of the most moving moments of this game. Of the entire Lunar series. His final words as they head to battle giving this such a cinematic feeling.
Fight hard, Hiro. Believe in your friends. The final test lies before you.
We head through the haze and make our way to the former site of Pentagulia, where Zophar has designed some abomination of a fortress. We push on, seeing Lucia trapped in a hologram as we get close. She's begging for us to retreat, but there is no backing down now.
What has Zophar done here? Lucia!
Hiro, run away. You must get away from here. Zophar is too strong. No one has the power to stop his evil as he is now.
We push ahead and we make our way into the vile creature's lair. Hiro telling Lucia that we're coming for her, and we start to make our way deeper into this monstrous tower. Zophar's tower is a mess. This thing looks and feels like the end, which, in all fairness, it should. We've been through so much. We've grown with these characters, and now we're going to take a final stand against Zophar. This place is a maze to traverse, the culmination of all of the dungeons that we've encountered so far. As we make our way up, the tower gets more and more twisted, feeling more like we're in a nightmare. And eventually, we find the peak. Lucia is trapped at the top of the tower by Zophar and tries to tell us to run, but that's not going to happen. Zophar is at the height of his power, holding all of his own power along with the power of the goddess. He has transformed himself into a new divine form right out of a sci-fi nightmare, and he's taunting us.
What brings you to my humble abode? Have you come to beg for mercy? Or perhaps you're here in order to halt my glorious plan? Well, it doesn't really matter which one it is. My new age of supreme darkness has already begun, and you haven't the slightest chance of stopping me now. Behold my power as I mold this world to my taste.
Zophar hates us for resisting him, and his arrogance is even greater than the magic emperors had ever been. The battle is intense, and even with grinding, he can be a challenge. But before things really feel finished, he falls. But something isn't right. The party isn't sure what to think, and Jean warns us not to let our guard down before...
Don't answer that. It doesn't matter. Whatever power you hold will fail before the supreme master of treachery.
Zophar is still alive and prepared to show us his true power, utilizing Lucia as a weapon. This is the true form of Zophar, holding Lucia captive. This battle is about slowly slicing down the evil deity, with Lucia speaking to the party as they continue to fight, never backing down. This is a sad battle, getting the feeling that the ending may not be as happy as we might hope. But then, Zophar gets tired of the battle and declares that he's going to win. But the party stand up, all showing that they believe in each other and Hiro. And then, Lucia breaks free from Zophar. Lucia finally understands what Luna told her. She believes in her friends, and that alone is enough to give us the final push to wipe Zophar out in this battle for the very existence of Lunar. Eventually, Zophar is stunned as they take him down. Lucia returns to the party now, but things aren't quite over yet. Zophar is unraveling, his voice showing how he is fracturing. We have a final showdown of Hiro and Lucia versus this crumbling deity. There's no real threat at this point. He doesn't even understand that the battle is lost for him. It's a cathartic showdown, knowing victory is at hand and seeing this great evil being finished off for good, but not before being told how wrong he was and he's always been. Zophar lets out his final words before fading into nothingness. The battle is over. The world is saved. The two are then reunited with the others. We've done it. I was so ecstatic at this point. I had expected going into this battle that there may be no way to save Lucia. But here she is, with us. We made it. The party reunites in vain to go over their plans for the future. Everyone is so happy. The world is full of hope again. It's an incredible feeling of elation as everybody reflects on their adventures. Null even invites Ruby to travel with him and to show her more of what it's like to be a dragon. Ruby has grown so much. They all have. Hiro goes to find Lucia on top of the building staring up at the blue star. He invites her to come back with him and she agrees. I was so happy for them. It reminded me of the happy ending with Alex and Luna. Now, everyone are ready to go their separate ways, but it's clear that the friendships that they've made will last the rest of their lives. Lucia tells Null that she plans to follow the path of Althena before she and Hiro take off to make their way back to Gwen's home. Here, they get some time together on the Destiny. And there, I get the feeling that the story isn't quite over. As they get close to Gwen's, Lucia asks to visit the Blue Spire first. She says that she wants to see the place where she first met Hiro. It sounds romantic, but there's sadness in her tone. They head up to the top of the blue tower,
Lucia?
And on the way, Lucia stops to look out on the blue star,
This world will be
letting us
hard to
know
forget.
what she plans.
I've come to love so many things here. The bright green grass, the dazzling light of the clear blue sky, and the people whose strength of conviction shines brightly on to eradicate evil. Yes, the inner strength you humans possess is the kind of magic that can revive the blue star. There's no longer a need for someone to rule and guide humans. You have the strength and power to control your own destiny. And that's the greatest gift of all.
Lucia? What are you...
I felt my heart breaking for both of them as I heard her words. She's not human. Now, back at the room where they met, Lucia says her farewell to Hiro.
No! Lucia!
Lucia is sacrificing happiness to return to the Blue Star, hoping to see it thrive again as a home for the humans someday.
During our final fight with Zophar, he did say one thing that I must admit was true. He said that I was incapable of believing in humanity and the power which they all possessed, which is why... That's why I could not believe in you.
No! Lucia, what are you doing?
When I came here, I didn't even know the meaning of humanity's power, so how could I believe? The one who taught me about it, of love, was you, Hiro. And it's because of that I can return to where I came from. Back to the Blue Star. You showed me what it means to fight for something you truly care for. In the same way you all fought to protect this world you so love, I wish to do the same for the Blue Star. I want to see it return to what it once was. I know that I have the strength to do that. Because if I've learned anything, it's that my feelings for you are powerful enough to create a miracle.
Don't go! Lucia! Why are you doing this, Lucia?
I will never forget this place. The people here, they will live on in my memory. Forever. I'm so sorry, Hiro. I have to go. Please understand.
Lucia.
Hiro, I must go back to the Blue Star. It needs me. Goodbye, Hiro. I will always love you.
My heart was aching as I saw the end of the game. This was one of the saddest endings I had ever encountered in a video game. Yet, I understood what she was doing. I really did. Sometimes, we have to make decisions that are to our own detriment for the good of something bigger, of something more important than ourselves. But seeing Hiro trying desperately to get to her as he's crying out for Lucia just about broke me. And then we got the credits. Lucia's pendant was left behind for Hiro, and that was it. But Hiro left off saying that he would find a way. He wasn't giving up. And the game fades with Hiro looking for a way to get to Lucia. And Ruby decides to travel with him, going on another adventure. I would have thought this was it, were it not for the Lunar subreddit. These people were so supportive during my time working on this retrospective, as well as the Silver Star project before it. And it was there that I was made aware that there was even an epilogue. Otherwise, I likely would have not even known to look for it. But they let me know, and now I was going off on one final adventure. And it was an even bigger adventure for Hiro than we had just been on. After defeating the main game, you can save your adventure, and then, on the menu screen, we had the option of taking on the epilogue, a new adventure that takes place after the end of the main game. Again, I probably wouldn't have turned the game back on to check for this until well after this video was finished, because I've been recording the entire playthrough, and I would have just assumed that I got everything I needed. The epilogue opens up at Gwyn's home. He's talking to Hiro about ideas on how he can find a way to Lucia. Gwyn knows how important she is to Hiro and gives all the help that he can. But all we really know is that we need Dragon Eye Jewels. The epilogue has a handful of new dungeons, and I wish I could say that I did them all, but as of now, I really more skimmed them and focused on the task at hand. Hiro travels around the world and finds his friends, bringing them all back together to help him in his quest to reach the Blue Star. Of course, they're all more than happy to help him in this quest, knowing how important Lucia is to him. These people have all grown to become so close now, clearly caring for each other. One of the standout moments is when Hiro visits Null and tells him what he's doing. Null compares Hiro to Alex and gives him Althena's sword, once wielded by the final Dragon Master. Null then tells us about the 5th dragon, the Star Dragon. From there, we head out and we make our way to find the rest of our friends to help us out. On our adventure, we come across a man named Kyle who desperately is in love with the mayor's daughter from the other side of Noda. He wants to marry her, but she is set to marry someone else at the behest of her father. We persuade Kyle to stand up and take a chance. Then, on the bridge during the ceremony, the Destiny rolls in with Kyle on hand. He calls for her to join him on the ship, and surprisingly, she agrees. She leaps from the bridge onto the ship and they move away, the two professing their love before heading back to the city to face their families in a pretty fun scene. But now, we have to focus on finding a way to Lucia. The first place that I entered was a ruin where the game had started. Heading deep in and making our way back up to the room where we first met Hiro. Because there's still one eye here to remove, and after we get it pried out, we just have to go find one more. At this, we are all determined to help Hiro after all their time together. We headed to the spring where Hiro accidentally walked up on Lucia swimming, and the water level has lowered enough now to actually enter the temple there. We head inside and make our way deeper through this temple, adjusting water levels along the way and taking out a massive guardian en route, picking up the second eye gem before heading out. Now, we had what we needed, we just have to find the path to the Star Dragon. It was exciting and still had me on edge. These games love to pull a swerve, so I really didn't know what to expect. And we eventually found the Star Dragon's tower. It was in a state of disrepair, but it was the way. At the top of the stairs was a dragon's head statue. We could feel the story winding down, and took the jewels up, placing them inside of the eyes of the dragon for it to open the path. The tower is massive and the design is ornate, clearly a special place. We slice our way up through the tower, getting closer and closer to finding the dragon. Now when we near the top, there's a massive statue of a monster there, and when we start to enter the chamber, the dragon speaks, asking if we are the ones seeking the Blue Star. This is the voice of the Star Dragon, and its head shows up, talking to the party. He guards the passage between the two worlds and says that he cannot let anyone pass now. He tries to command us to leave, but Hiro is not going to back down. He tells the dragon that he loves Lucia and cannot let her be alone on the Blue Star. The dragon is surprised, and Hiro says that he's willing to fight this dragon if he must. Instead, we're put up against the Star Guardian, It's a one-on-one battle for Hiro, and we are determined. After all that we've been through, there is no failing here. Hiro cuts down the Guardian and proves himself to the Star Dragon. The dragon is impressed, and he says that he hopes Hiro can withstand the harsh Blue Star's climate. But Hiro isn't scared, or if he is, that fear is drowned out by his love for Lucia. They head into a chamber with one of the green crystals like Lucia had used on her way to Lunar, and there, Hiro says his goodbyes to his friends. These friends are so supportive of Hiro. It was wonderful to get this final adventure with them.
Hiro, it seems the time has come for us to part ways, but this time we do so as friends. While you are seeking out your future with Lucia and the Blue Star, I shall be wandering this land in search of my own destiny. Well, good luck.
You know, up until now, I thought I was the biggest gambler on Lunar, but it's you. I have no idea what lies ahead of you on this journey, but I have no doubt that you'll manage to win it all in the end. So I'm betting it all on you. Well, that's my little pep talk. Take care.
Hiro, this is extremely dangerous. I wish you could just stay here with me, but I guess that wouldn't really be fair to either you or Lucia. But then, I think you leaving isn't really fair to me either.
Some of what Ruby says really is true, Hiro, you know? But then I'm sure you'll make it back to Lucia just fine. I know you can do whatever you set your heart to, so get out of here before I cry. Go! I mean it!
Jeez. I'm mega bad at saying goodbye like this. But this isn't like one of those final forever goodbyes, now is it? You're just going to pick up a friend, right? Oh, who am I kidding? Hiro, just stay safe.
It was sad, but I was so excited. And if you saw my Final Fantasy VIII retrospective, you've heard the story of my travel across the country to rescue my now wife from a really bad situation. How insane those circumstances were. And here, Hiro is risking everything to travel to a new world for the woman that he loves. I can understand exactly how he feels here. He's taken through space to the blue planet, the only human there, and seeks out Lucia. There, we see her in a crystal asleep, waiting on the planet to heal, but suddenly, Hiro, just as we first met him, upside down, on an adventure in a precarious position. And he looks so happy, as does Lucia. He did it. They were together again, against all odds. Now, they stood together looking over the blue star, and the atmosphere was starting to clear up for the first time that we've seen. Not an endless storm, and we see grass. The world is finally healing. It's happening. The two look up at Lunar, the blue star's moon, the home of their friends. But they aren't alone. They have each other. and the Blue Star is a world filled with hope now. It's coming back to life. We have a true happy ending. Lucia and Hiro finally kiss as the game goes to its credits. I was blown away by Eternal Blue. I didn't think it would be able to hold up to the Silver Star story, but it really does stand on its own as an incredible game and an amazing follow-up to one of the most charming RPGs ever. Eternal Blue's cast were absolutely wonderful. The party was a joy to spend time with, and the story may have felt slightly contrived at times, but that happens in life, and it was an incredible journey. I see now why so many people love this game, and while I was blown away on my first playthrough with this, I know that it won't be my last. The world of Lunar is incredible, and it's wonderful that these games have a new life in the form of this remaster collection. Thank you again to everybody who has supported me and my channel. I hope that this video does the game justice. I've had a great time with it, and as I said, it won't be my last time with Eternal Blue. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you all for spending this time with me, Hiro, Lucia, the others, for this Eternal Blue retrospective. I'm the Unhinged Gamer, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.